Good evening and welcome to EGL One 2020, sponsored by Evesports and Intel. My name is Wookie Triple XL, and the man to my left on your screen is Mr. Nick Bart, who has done a really nice little slide-in save for our cast this evening, because unfortunately Maddie's internet had a bit of a dead. But Mr. Nick, how are you doing, bro?
I'm good, eh? I'm good. I'm ready to watch some juicy Counter-Strike tonight, I'll be honest. It's XVG, it's at Noble Aspiration. And I'm just keen for one to bang out a good cast, have a good time, and yeah, it's gonna be a good one.
Lack out of 10, thank you very much, sir, for coming in and saving this cast so that I don't have to solo carry it. I've got many skills, but solo carrying a cast is probably not one of them. So we have, like you say, XVG versus Noble, and off camera we were actually literally just discussing who we think is going to win. But I do have basically the end of the veto, and first was banned Dust 2 by the gentleman over at Nibble, then the ladies and gentlemen on XVG banned Nuke, and then there was a Vertigo ban from Nibble. The picks are going to be Overpass, Mirage, and Train. So I think I actually didn't see which order. Oh, there they are. So Overpass will be our first map, then we're going to Mirage, and then Train for the decider on the best of 3. Based on that and our previous discussion, who do you think is going to win, Mr. Nix?
I'm flabbergasted that we're seeing Train as a third map. Who leaves a sleeper pick Train? But anyway, be that as it may. Looking at the two rosters, I saw Clouds just put a little bit of a hint in chat, a little bit of a nugget of knowledge. But if you look at XVG's team, there's definitely, I'd say, superior aimers on their team than there is on the side of Noble Aspiration. But with these sort of sleeper teams that you don't really see often in the mainstream, sort of in the Counter-Strike realm in South Africa at the moment, with these two sort of lower tier teams, they're in the mid tier. They're not really at the top of the tier, but they're not horrible teams. They could really go either way. But I'd definitely say that XVG are probably running into this as the better team, quote unquote. So I do think XVG would take the victory, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see them trade map picks and we see a third. But I'm gonna back myself and say XVG. I don't know what you're gonna say, but I've a running joke with Matt that I'm never wrong, never been wrong in my entire life. So XVG is gonna win this one.
Okay, nice. Well, hopefully Castus Curse doesn't visit you. I have to say, for Nibble's defense, I do know or have known of Hyperjane Aspect for some time. I think with some inside information from the young nobody who did field on their team as a sub, they have been working quite a lot on their teamwork, etc. But like you said, the experience and even pub stratting that XVG have, even on a pub strat level, you know, you've got a character like Fenrir in there who I know has been at LAN environments, you know, VS Gaming lands and stuff from about 2014, 2015. So he is actually bringing quite a lot of experience to the table. You could say a casual 5-6 years alone just from him. And he's the, from what I understand, leader in this environment. So yeah, it's going to be quite a tall mountain for Aspiration to climb, definitely. XVG, like you say, I also feel does have the better aim and just raw experience. So it might come down to a need for better teamy flashing, better flash support and stuff from Aspiration to get stuff done. And I think Overpass is a really nice precursor map to all of that, because in general, it correct me if I'm wrong, but my feeling is on Overpass, generally the better team will win, regardless of, you know, implied setups and that sort of stuff. It's that map where you're almost rewarded for more, almost like individual skills can be done because of how sprawled the map is, because of how wide open the entry points are compared to other maps.
Yeah, I'd agree with you to a certain extent in that one. But I think Overpass is definitely a very util heavy map. How you take short control, the battle towards blue or lowers, how you call it. We see a lot of teams throw the lurk smoke over towards long and try get up there, maybe a pop flash through that. I think it's definitely going to be interesting seeing Overpass come out from one of these teams. But seeing as what one of these teams, I believe it was XVG that picked it, Overpass. I think that them being confident enough with their Overpass shows that they've definitely been doing their homework, right? And just trailing back with what you said with XVG's firepower, they recently did play Online Kingdom in a best of 5, and they did lose 3-0, but Online Kingdom, rip Online Kingdom. But The fact is that they went to double digits and made each of those games competitive. I can't remember what maps there were. I know there was a Vertigo in there. I know there was a Mirage in there. I'm not sure what the last map was. But the fact that XVG got double digits, I think they got 12, 11, 12, and 13 rounds in each of those maps, shows that XVG, if you're taking it that close against the likes of Online Kingdom, which are without a doubt a top 7, top 8 team in the country, then you're here to play. You know, you're here to take the fight to Noble Aspiration, and I think they're definitely going to have a tough time. But we're seeing Overpass, Mirage, and then Train. So we've spoken a bit about Overpass. Mirage is one of those maps where you fight for mid control, you split A, you split B. There's no real special things about Mirage that we've seen in the recent past. It's literally you get mid control as a T, you split A, you split B. But what sorts out the good teams from the great teams and Overpass is Mirage is how well they effectively split the bomb sites and how they dwindle down the CT's defense and ultimately select the site with one less CT defender. And Train being the last pick, the decider, I think it's very interesting to see what happens with Train, because no one really leaves Train for the third map. You know, everyone loves an Inferno, a Dust 2 as the third map decider.
Yeah.
But seeing Train is definitely going to be interesting.
I like the pick, honestly, because for me, Train, you know, if you've got a strong AWPer and even an average AWPer, your CT side, if you play it correctly with the right rotations and support, you can just shut down the map. There's absolutely nothing the T's can do. They can throw all the util in the world, but nothing like a 338 Lapua to the chest can be that monkey wrench in the gears. There's nothing quite like that, at least, like a 338 to the chest to throw a wrench in your plans. So I quite like that from, you know, maybe a team that doesn't specifically have a massive catalog of team-based plays, if they can rely on raw AWP or raw aiming skills to hold off areas, you know. So I think it's a good pick for them, specifically for XVG, because they are holding a higher experience pool in their team, and Train is, especially defensively, it's just one of those maps where you can really make it like such a hard time. Nice like little sneaky positions on top of red and mid, you know, good AWPers on the A site itself, good AWPers at the back of the B site, can really be difficult to reach effectively with your utility.
Yeah, definitely. But we're speaking about Train, and unfortunately, that's only the third map, so it will be juice if we do get to Train. But I'm Overpass and Mirage. I think it's definitely going to be exciting to see how these two teams come out. We've spoken about XVG and how, looking at the 5 on their roster, we would say that they probably are better aimers. I think, as you said, Fenrir is one that jumps out. I think Andrew is one that jumps out for me. I think he's definitely a very good aimer to have on that squad. So I think it could just come down to a battle of the aimers at the end of the day, right? We speak about these lower tier teams not really being as rehearsed as the higher teams in the scene. So maybe at the end of the day, as you said, it does come down to team play. But at the same sort of length, you could say, like, it could just come down to aim, because we know that these teams aren't top 10 in the country, for example. So it's definitely going to be more fallback for them to be taking those aim duels, maybe dry peeking certain angles that they shouldn't be. But it's definitely going to be exciting to see. It is Overpass, it is Mirage, Train being the decider. But I do think the way that Mirage and Overpass do unfurl and unturn for the rest of us to see it, it is definitely going to set a precedent for how they're going to sort out on Train. But I do think seeing what XVG have got in the locker on Overpass, especially with them picking it, it is going to be interesting to see how the series unfolds.
No, for sure, 100%. I got to agree with practically everything you said. I'd like to disagree to play devil's advocate, but it's not going to be constructive. Let me just check in with production. I think we're ready to go on all fronts. I'm just waiting for the ready from them, because the veto is done. The players are in server. So let me just production. Have we got a check 1-2 on the readiness for the match? 5 more minutes. Okay, cool. 5 more minutes, and then we will be underway with Overpass. I think, who would you say is the most prevalent team internationally for Overpass right now? Pose a hard question.
Overpass, you have to say Astralis. You know, Astralis is just the best team in the world. You know, Overpass got to beat. I don't think Astralis is one of them in the conversation. But there's not really too many. I mean, Heroic probably have a really good Overpass. Heroic have a really interesting B execute on Overpass. They actually lead with the flashes and the Molotovs. and then the smokes, which is really interesting to see. So Sponge actually did a breakdown on one of these. Is when you lead a site to execute with a flashbang, it's actually quite interesting because instead of leading with the smokes, and then if you're a CT sitting on the site and you see smokes come over, you can use Mirage for an example. If you're sitting triple, for example, you see the smokes come over, you go, okay, there's flashes after that, so you can play accordingly. But when you lead with a flashbang, you're sort of caught in no man's land. So what Heroic do with their B-side executes on overpasses, they lead with the flashbangs, then they molly, then the smokes are only blooming when people are already coming out monster and short, which is really interesting. So it's something interesting to keep in mind with regards to the top teams in the world, how they execute different sides. But I think Heroic is probably one of the best teams, not only in the world, but on Overpass, something to look at. But Overpass is definitely one of the sleeper picks which we don't see too often in pro play pretty much across the board. We see more often, I know OG first pick their Infernos, Astrala's first ban their Mirages, we're seeing FaZe first pick Mirages, but we don't really see many teams fall back on their Overpass, and it's not really a decider that much either. So to see South African teams really going forward with their Overpass, I know C5 do so, it looks like XVG do so, I know Goliath have a really good Overpass on them, ATK also do, so do XD. So it's interesting to see that South African teams, they're more going towards the Overpass first pick than international teams, but you never know. Maybe XVG, they're a bit more rehearsed on tonight's map pick, and maybe they can actually put out a stomping on Aspiration and make them worry for Mirage.
So my counter to all of that is, what about Big? Because they, I think, showed a lot of like really cool flash setups and smoke setups and boosts and stuff for this, especially defensively from the CT side. They're very good at support flashing on B. Just as an example, I've seen a lot of setups where Surson is in position to look down Monster Tunnel, and there's a beautiful flash thrown from way like almost under heaven from there on the back of that site, like over the top, for instance. Big not a consideration for an Overpass like top contender?
I think Big are definitely a top team in the world without a doubt. But okay, I have to say this before we jump into Overpass. I'm personally not a fan of the map. I really dislike Overpass.
Really? Okay.
Just because
Interesting.
I think as a CT, there's so many places to hold. On Inferno, for example, there's second mid, there's banana. On Overpass, there's monster, there's water, there's lowers, there's middle, and there's long. So that's 5 places to hold as a CT, compared to 3 on the conventional other sides, like mid on Overpass. On Mirage, for example, there's A, there's B, and there's mid. But Overpass, there's so many different leading factors to come up to a T hitting a bomb site that you have to spread your resources so thin, or give up complete control of one of those areas to look at around with. So for example, like 3 people on the B bomb site and playing a 2-man bathroom setup. You've left long completely because you have to keep control of bathrooms, and you've left lowers, which means you're so like vulnerable to the mid lowers splits of some sort of effect where you can split bathrooms, or you weaken your defense on B, you fight for short control, you then leave 2 short, 1 on B, and then you still only have 2 players A, which you pretty much have them playing from the bomb side because you've got short control. So I'm personally not a fan of the map because I find it very difficult for CTs, but that comes into effect when you have the really fast rotates. So I mean, I'm personally not a fan of the map. Maybe you disagree. I know you're a fan of Big and what they can do on Overpass, but it's going to be interesting what XVG have got in store.
So I think Overpass on CT can be approached really like in 2 massively counterposition sort of ways. I prefer the setup where you give up your bathroom and long control, where you play like one from site spotting with an AWP or something with good long range engagement potential. You have one guy sort of lowers watching for the pushes through playground and stuff so that he can get himself out of trouble, smoke off the lower section and rotate out through B if need be. Then you kind of, so, and then even as I'm saying that, I'm like, yeah, but water now becomes a nightmare position for that guy and lowers in the CT positioning. And I think it's so, your communication on CT side matters hugely. But in the same breath, I've also seen games played where a device, for instance, literally just sits in the top of heaven or on a site and rotates that short distance in between both sites with his AWP, and completely shuts down any plans you may have had if you don't have good luck heaven smokes to shut down his position. So I think overall, I kind of also like it because it is a more of an attacking map, and you can just sort of shove through lowers as a T or shove through mid because you've got various areas of entry, and it can it's a good rotating sort of setup. But it does look like we are ready for the game. We are going to be going live in about 10 seconds.
Oh, it's going to be
Are you
some
ready, Mr.
exciting
Nick?
stuff. I want to say I'm ready, but I'm not really ready, you know? I want to say, yeah, I'm ready for these two teams to match up, but I don't know if I am, because I know it's going to be juicy and it's going to be exciting. But, I'm keen to jump into it, I'm keen to jump into it.
So we should have another 20 seconds worth of warm-up. Here it comes through. This is the match starting. It is XVG Miracle versus Nibble Aspiration, at least. And they are going into the first pistol round. Let us inspect the buy as it comes through. We do see two decoys, a full armor stack coming through on the CT side. A little bit of good manners there, good luck, have fun. And then we see a much better util setup from my perspective on Hyper J. He's got a double flash smoke for the entry and then 4 sets of armor. They are setting up towards mid and the shove is already coming through. Kingslayer needs to dart into the lower section. So does Fenrir. Fenrir is going to take the first contact. They are going to pull back now and the T's are just going to hold W towards the A side.
This is exactly what you thought was going to be the case, but Fenrir, he's going to take off Cupcake's head and try dish himself up 2 for dinner, and he does take down Hyper J as Scrubby takes down Al in the meantime, but the bomb has been dropped, the C4 is on the floor, and Andrew and Fenrir chime in for one of their own, and now it's Luke left in a 1v4, and it looks like Andrew says that he's living on borrowed time, and XVG, we speak about their aim, and that is where the pistols shine, as XVG pick up the all-important pistol round. And I must say, that 5 armor setup, really not a fan. I'll put that straight out there. No kit, no flashes purchased up. That's a bit questionable, but it doesn't matter, you know? XVG, they just need the pistols, the USPs, tap them heads, and they post the first round on the board.
And it's exactly the 2 players that we've been mentioning, which is really nice. No caster's curse there. Fenrir and Andrew get the first 5 scalps, 3 for Fenrir and 2 for Andrew. So very nice bit of work there from them. But here comes the shove once again from the T's. They are going to be pushing through the lower section, back up through into mid. And there are some CTs behind them once again. Do they realize in time? No, they don't. Fenrir gets taken down. Kinslayer manages to get a trade, but then gets traded out herself. So now it's only 3 CTs and all of them are towards B. The rotate is coming up through the back stairs section and they're going to be pushing on towards A, but it looks like Aspiration is called a bluff and they're just going to do a little bit of a hold here and wait for them to over rotate. Now the information is going to come through from XVG side that they're not pushing. They do have one man who's still in the water area, so he's going to be watching this door like an absolute hawk. But is he going to be able to deal with this push that's coming through from Monster now on his own? I just don't see it happening. Here comes the shove. He's already flashed out a really good flash setup. He does manage to pick up one in the form of Aspect, and they're going to take the B bomb site now for absolute free.
2v3 post plant set up. The bomb has been planted by Scrubby. Already 2 kills in the round, and if you're Rock and you're Andrew, you've got 3 flashes at the bomb site. 1 has already been expended, and now they're going to try to activate towards this area. But Cupcake with the Bison is going to get work done, and now it's Andrew left in a 1v3, and Luke takes him out. And Aspiration, they respond with a round of their own, and it wasn't really a full investment. There were some players with deagles without armor, some players had armor behind their deagles, and Aspiration, it's easy for them at the end of the day. It's easy, you know? It's easy.
No, yeah, they just absolutely shut them down in mid. It was kind of weird, like that position for a moment with Fenrir and Kinslayer so far past where they were pushing. I was like, what am I actually looking at here? But it's part of that scrappy sort of CS that we were expecting now. And the T's are wasting no time getting right back into this round. They get Fenrir, they get Kinslayer once again. They've got the beat on where these players are going to be. I really like how they're doing this as well. They get the pickles, they don't overcommit, they sort of slow it down, look for more information, and then take the play.
100%. And now all the Aspiration boys, they just want these eco frags, you know, the confidence boosters. That's exactly. Cupcake was running up low saying, listen, bro, that's my eco frag, that's my confidence booster. And he's dinked down to 7 points of health. But now it's just a la Rock and Andrew. Couple upgraded pistols between them. Rock has only got the silenced pistol on him, as they are going to group up for this A execute. They have taken a bit of time, which has meant that Andrew's rotated down. So there's maximum 2 players here as Hyper J. He's going to get one with the Mac 10. and almost get a second, but Allah's actually going to trade it out. Now it's Andrew left in a 1v4, and he can't get anything done, really. He's just going to try to look for an exit, try to find a gun that he can save into the next round. But Aspiration, after losing the pistol, they've responded back with 2 rounds of their own. And Andrew's not even going to look for an exit. He just doesn't care. He's just yeets through the smoke.
He pulls a Stewie 2K, but it just doesn't finish in the same way, unfortunately.
I respect. You got to respect this.
You do. And another thing you have to respect, I hope people on stream have noticed, but XVG have given us possibly the best in-game pictures ever made. If you haven't seen them, I do suggest you have a look at the stream, Mr. Nix, because it's quite hilarious. But getting back into this round, they are going quite live. Nice little deco. We are going to see a push through mid, which is going to yield no information, which means that they are going to be lowers, but they do have someone already in position in the form of Kinslayer, who's going to have heard that door open. It's going to feed back the positioning now. There is a bit of a spam that comes out from the CTs, perhaps a little foolhardy. It does mean that there is going to be a trailing arm position now in the water area, probably from the Ts. They're probably not going to make that same mistake they did on round 1 with that, getting caught out from behind. They are going to get B relatively for free. No damage really received in their general direction, and it does mean that this is probably writing on the wall for this round, at least.
Yeah, an aspect is pretty much going to confirm that to be the case as Fenrir gets taken down, but Allah towards short. He gets one, but traded out by Cupcake, but Kinslayer gets one of her own. Now Rocker's on the brink of the smoke, and they're just going to look for economical damage. Yes, you're not going to win the round, but the fact is that if you keep the economy in check, you could be good for future rounds. Now it's Rocker left in a 1v1 against Scrubby. Over towards the pit is Scrubby, FAMAS in hand. The round has been won by Aspiration, but the fact is that the war is still to be played, and only one player staying alive from Scrubby, even though they did win the second round. The point is that XVG kept Aspiration's economy as in check as possible. So it is going to be a full investment coming out from Aspiration. They do still have an extra bit of bank in the bank accounts, but it is going to be another full investment coming out from XVG. 5 M4s across the board, couple full belts of utility, but no big green gun on the server just yet.
Yeah, and it's a bit weird. They did actually have the money on the CT side, but here comes a huge push. They are just running through Monster, giving absolutely no respect over to XVG. Is it going to work out? It works out for one. Scrubby gets one. Kickass picks up another one. Is there going to be any more trades coming through? There's only one man left towards the graffiti area. He's going to be able to get one. Allah gets himself a trade back. But now we have him pushing through. Allah picks himself up a second one. This is the start of something better. It's now a 2-on-3.
Fenrir's pushing the short smoke. Oh! He catches RPG out! But oh, okay. I thought we had a bit of a round on our hands there. I thought the juice was incoming, you know? Fenrir pushing the smoke, but anyway, Aspiration, they post their fourth. But if you're XVG, you can't be boosting for a short pick if you don't have anyone getting in for Monster. The only reason why you boost short is maybe early round to catch the short aggression coming out, but we haven't really seen that from Aspiration because we haven't seen too many gun rounds. So if you're XVG, there's no real reason to boost short early round besides trying to get that early short pick. But if you don't have monster info, or at least show monster presence with a deep monster smoke and a molly, then you're just sitting ducks. So when Aspiration ran into the bomb site, they got free kills, they were able to post their fourth, and now XVG are back onto an eco.
Yeah, and it's a nice one-way from Fenrir. Manages to get himself some damage onto Luke, who decides to bug out of there immediately. He's not going to be sitting there to take any more damage. A lot of decoys coming through from XVG, which is interesting. Is Fenrir going to be able to hit the shot here? He's not, unfortunately. He's going to get mollied off position. So he's been pushed back into lowers, which is not ideal when they have this amount of control. Andrew is in position to get some info of his own. So he's going to be posted here for the long angle, but Aspect with the big green gun, he is sitting on the angle. And is he going to see the man he is? He's going to miss the first shot. Unfortunately for him, Andrew is going to feed back that information. He's probably only seen one long, but here comes the util and the shove. They are going to now hold W into the side. Scrubby is going to be the man coming up front. There are 2 players towards Optimus. Is he going to be able to see them? Not in time, because Fenrir is going to pick himself up one, but then an absolutely destructive bit of play coming through there from the T's. They do catch the man close in smoke. He's not going to be able to sneak around in there, and now it's just Fenrir left in a 1-on-3.
You're Fenrir, you save, yeah. Yes, you're buying next round, but you definitely want that AWP up if you're the side of XVG. But he is going to stick around, possibly for a bit too long. He's going to probe up towards long. He could take the AWP out of Aspect's hands, which is going to be good, and actually get a second onto Scrubby. And now Luke is on 23 points of health. He's actually going to stick the bomb, but the bomb is planted for Bank, which does allow Luke to come in, and the trade should come in, and it does so. And at the end of the day, that was an eco round from XVG, and what they did important is to keep Aspiration's economy in check. I'm going to say this throughout the cast. It's important. Aspect. He's only got $4,000, especially because he invested in that AWP, and they actually bought an extra AK in the last round. XVG, they're keeping Aspiration's money on the ropes, which means if XVG win a buy round, Aspiration are going to be looking at Eco in the eyes, which could mean XVG could be on the route for a comeback. But it is 5-1, and there's a double AWP setup.
Yeah, Scrubby and Luke are the only ones with really any carryover economy, as you've noted. So, yeah, it's maybe just a bit tenuous there. They do need a couple of cleaner rounds. Getting 3 through certainly doesn't hurt. They probably need that about 2 more times before they can rest on their economic laurels. And it definitely is a better economic situation for them. And now Fenrir does have himself a big green gun. So there is a little bit more defensive play available to them, which is gonna help them a lot. He doesn't have any util, unfortunately, so he's gonna be kind of a one and done if he does put himself in that position. But the shove is going to come towards B and not go in the direction of the AWP, which could be the first problems that XVG is going to face. Now, perhaps knowing that, based on the information and flashes, Fenrir has gone and set himself up in position. Now, that's when they need that really good heaven smoke to sort of push him out of position and make sure that he can't get the damage done from this spot.
But water control is going to go the way of Nibble Aspiration. They're just going to slow things down as the Astrala smokes do come in, 2 towards the bridge position / graffiti, and the heaven smoke comes in. The flashes come in to hit the bomb sites, and now's the time for Fenrir to activate with the AWP. He does get one, and Andrew gets one of his own towards the pit. The trade finally comes in and pushing the smoke a bit preemptively is Ala, which allows Aspiration a possible way to win the round. It is a 2v2. There's a molly on Kinslayer, which does mean that this default position can be flushed out, but the smokes are now fading, and the retake is going to come in. A missed molly and no kits on the side of XVG means that this round does look like it is going to go Aspiration's way, but it is going to be this duel over towards pit, which pretty much is going to scaffold the rest of the round, and going to see what Luke can get done. Pushing in, Luke and Cupcake get 2 fast frags, and Aspiration post their 6th. And if you're XVG, that was a bit weird, you know. You've got one player stuck in the bomb site. Yes, I get the need that Andrew's in pit, we've got to help him out. But you can't be pushing a smoke like that, you know. If that player didn't push a smoke, you're looking at a 3v2 retake, which is a lot more doable if you're the side of XVG. But eventually a player just pushes the smoke, he loses his life. 2v2 retake goes the way of Aspiration. They're able to post 6, and that's 6 in a row. To keep in mind, they did lose the pistol round, which Aspiration, they're looking good on Overpass.
100%. There's definitely a good comm structure coming from them. I actually wasn't feeling too positive about the delay before that push because they'd already thrown some util towards the site and the rotations had already come in. So I was hoping they would do maybe something to sell a fake or do some movement back towards A so that the CTs would sort of resplit. But as you said, they gave away a lot with that smoke push. But here comes a push through low as Rocket picks one up. He gets the slight shot on the man in lowers. Absolutely sick dig from him. These decoys seem to be doing work for XVG. There is a trade in the form of Fenrir. He's going to go down, which does mean that they get that mid-stairs control. And Ella actually does a nice spam through the smoke to get some good damage onto Luke, which almost makes it a 3v4, but he is still alive, and you're not dead until 100 hit points have faded from your HUD. So he's going to be able to keep himself alive. And Andrew just applies more 50 cal dental, hits him right in the teeth, and that's going to be Scrubby going down. So now a 3 and almost like a 2. You could say, and it is going to be Allah who gets flashed, and he still manages to spam through, gets himself into the water position. Aspect's going to get it, but that is Rocker just coming through with an absolutely massive 3k. The decoy works out. They've got huge money, and now, as you've noted, Aspiration on a bit of a back foot of a bad situation.
Aspiration on the ropes, and that round is a bit weird, you know. Yes, you got a player that it just seemed a bit disjointed from the side of Aspiration. You know you're against Eagles, you just can't overcomplicate the mid round. All you do is you group up, you hit a bomb site together, you trade out effectively, you win the round. But what happened with Aspiration? But split up, Andrew gets a 1 dig over towards A, and as soon as that happens, Aspiration seemed to freeze. They were like, boys, like, no, we can't go bathrooms anymore. So they went back to B, but they're going to go towards lowest this round. Bender's got 2 on the spray down. As eventually Hyper J comes in with the trade. But things are starting to look up for XVG. If they can clean up this buy round, then they're going to have to get through one more buy from Aspiration. And then they're going to be looking en route for the comeback. But that being said, Aspiration, they've posted a good 6 rounds. And you love yourself a good Overpass. You were speaking about big sort of pronounce sort of their stature on this sort of match. So what is your take from this map so far? There shouldn't really be much to say. I hope there isn't for this round. But what is your take on Aspiration's T side so far?
I think good communication really is the name of the day. Mid-round calls could improve slightly. They could do more to spread out the CTs and sell a fake, etc. Because now they're, for instance, they're just pushing straight into 2 M4s, but it doesn't matter because Luke says, get out of the server. You guys are not welcome here on A. We are going to be able to take this bomb site, and they are going to get themselves a plant on the save, which is really a big win. But now they're being pincered. Andrew's coming in from behind, and Ala is coming in from the bathroom angle. Luke's going to get a third that traded over M4, doing huge work now. And Aspect is now in a 1-on-2. Actually, no, I lie. Sorry, Allah is now in a 1-on-2, pushing into the site. Luke is going to play patient behind the truck, get the info, which is a good move from him. He does get taken out, but there is going to be a nade pull. Oh, my word, if you could not get timing struck so hard, maybe you would have been in with a chance, but Aspect says no, shuts down the bomb site. And that's a really good save, actually, coming through from Aspiration, being able to pick up that many kills. Luke putting in a huge effort there, picking up, I think it was a 3K, right? That he ended up with at the end of that round.
Yeah.
Good digs to open it up, pick up that M4, perhaps an overextension from them. I kind of want them to sell fakes a little bit more, but it seems they don't really need to.
Yeah, well, it's exactly the opposite of what they're going to be doing this round. They're just going to be gunning it in towards B as Scrubby's going to take Allah's head off, and that's the round. That's the round said and done. Kinslayer's going to throw a weird flash, but like one golden rule about that 1v1 setup there that I got taught by God's Not Dead himself is if you're in a 1v1, don't pull out util. Just don't. That's bad for you. It's bad for your health. It's bad for your health in game and out of game. Just don't pull out util, and you'll win the round. I promise. But Aspiration, they were able to win the eco round, and they're just cleaning things up. They're wiping the floor with XVG at the moment. I was gonna say XVG, they were looking en route to start solidifying this comeback with the eco round that they did get, but Aspiration, they replied with one of their own straight back at it, and 5 players staying alive in this round means that the economy is going to start to build up quite nicely for the coming rounds. You've already posted 8. You've got to get through another couple buy rounds if you're their side of XVG. And Aspiration, they're looking really good on the T side of Overpass.
And Luke with a 13 for 4, 120 ADR. He is smashing them at the moment. They need to get out from in front of his gun because it's not definitely not the place you want to be right now. He is just crushing eggs. So yeah, I think it's weird because, well, I would say XVG kind of had a weird setup on that one. As we get into this round, Ale is going to pick up quite a lucky kill by the looks of things on Cupcake, just getting caught a little bit unawares over there, which is a nice opening for them. It does mean they are now a man up. Kinslayer looking towards long, where the push is going to be coming through, is perhaps going to get some information coming in the next few seconds. Let's see what she can do here on the angle. She picks up 1. It is a really nice pickup. She gets the auto as well. And so Fenrir comes in. He manages to get the bomb and the 3rd, which means that it's now Luke, the magic man for Aspiration at the moment, in a 1-on-4. I don't see him clutching this, but perhaps getting some decent damage in. They are quite wealthy, which does help. They've got 2 players over 5k, which is going to definitely help for drops and stuff in the next round. They should be fine for a full buy, but then that is the end of the economic advantage. And 8-2 up, you'd think it would be a little bit wider at this point in time.
Oh, but Luke can capitalize on the disjointed CT approach here. There's one player over towards long, but Andrew, one thing I forgot to mention is that he's got an AWP and he's trained on the angle. So XVG, they get another round, but that round pretty much comes down to, if you're a Cupcake, why are you solo pushing water? It's such a pivotal area for the CTs and Ts to aggress on mid-round and early round. If you're the CTs, it's quite often to fight for water control. If you're the Ts, it's the same thing. You're quite often to fight for it. So why are you pushing it solo? You're pretty much just giving up your frag And that's exactly what happened. So Noble Aspiration, they're fighting that they're punching above their weight probably the first 20 seconds of the round. So they're not resting on their laurels. They're now sending 2 players towards that side of the map with a flash. And with the players just spraying through lowers, it's free kills for the side of Noble Aspiration. They made a mistake last round. They're rectifying it this round. And now they find themselves in a 5v4. But look at the CTs. They're all towards B. Like, this is madness. But we're going to see if the CTs have got the right read. It does look to be the case. Fenrir's going to flash in towards short. And they're going to catch the T's in transition. Fenrir's get 2. Kinsley gets one of her own. And now it's Luke and Aspect. Well, rather, Aspect and Hyper-J left in a 2v3. Turn 2v2. Kinslaver towards short, gonna take out Aspect, and now it's a 1v1 just like that. This round has gone from what just happened. This round was madness.
Yeah, things just got out of control really quickly, you know, and then even in that 1v1, Kinslayer overplaying her hand. She had the bomb site angled so that he would only be able to plant behind pillar. Could have saved the util for that moment when you hear the bomb coming out. And back to what you were saying earlier with regards to pulling out util, my approach to it is you have to be in cover. You have to only use util from a position of cover that's hard to push, so that you're not caught in the interchange between the gun and the nade itself, or whatever you happen to be throwing at that point in time. And that's not the case. Kinslayer does just decide to push out and try and take the aim duel, which then results in them losing the round, and that is going to be a 9. But yeah, they are pushing into lowers. They're not going to find Fenrir on the angle. He hears them on the approach. He hears the other man coming through and lowers on the approach, but Luke is just too quick, so he is going to get a trade. It is now a 5v3 or 4v3 at least, and it does favor XVG for sure, but can they keep their rotations in check? And Kinslayer is going to push up mid, get another frag, and then pull right back to the bomb site. This is really good CT sided play for Overpass. You get that info, you get that kill, and you pull back into a defensible position. Much better play this round from XVG.
You took the words out of my mouth. That's exactly what I was about to say. If you're Kinslayer, you don't want to overstay your welcome. You get the frag, you get back to site. It's a 4v2. You play 2-2 setup. You hopefully, even if you get 1 kill on the entry, on the execute from the T's, you're still in a favorable retake position. But there's still pretty good setups on the side of the CTs. Allah's pretty pushed up over towards short, so he's got the info from both water as well as lower tunnels, but they are going to contact out of monster, which is always the play. You know, if you're on Inferno and you're in a 2vx, contact Arch. If you're on Overpass, you contact monster. But Andrew, he's got their number. Cupcake and Scrubby's digits are in Andrew's phone and in his pocket, and XVG are going to post the 4th.
Yeah, he does a little M4 medulla oblongata surgery there, removes them from the game in the map on the Dupree angle with the, you remember that dig? That sick ace
I'm a FaZe supporter, so that hurts me every time. Like, it's such a good clip, but I'm a massive FaZe fan, so I'm like, no, like, I get it. It's a good clip. Stop showing me, please.
No, but they're never going to. It makes every single Deagle highlight video ever made, pretty much. But here comes a shot through mid. They're going to be pushing into a shotgun. Fenrir is going to get one. None, actually. Kinslayer is going to pick up both of the kills. He's going to get taken down for free. It is a 3v3 as they push onto the side. But Andrew running up now. He is in position. The man next to him very, very low. He doesn't hear them pushing towards Opti. He doesn't hear them in. Does he know that they're there? He does. He plays the smoke to perfection. Manages to pick up one. It is going to be a trade out, though, from Aspect, who now puts himself into a very interesting position. He's got the bomb towards himself. He does actually on the Opti angle. There is this re-smoke that comes out from there. Allah is going to get himself on the bomb. Andrew's going to be looking towards bank. Here's the noise coming in. The spray is there, but it's not going to connect, and he does get taken down for his troubles. Wow, okay, that just traded positions really quickly in the middle of the bomb plant scenario that sort of happened there. But a nice little round from Aspiration to shove like that and pick up the bomb plants at minimum. So that does give them a better cash flow perspective. One player is going to be stuck with a Galil, which is less than ideal. We want that one-shot headshot potential, but it is a lot better position than if they hadn't planted that bomb.
Back to the B-Rush. Or the good old trusty B-Rush, as Andrew's going to be welcoming them with open arms, but they're going to try to push the issue over towards Pit, and Andrew's caught with a nade in his hand. The second player has been spotted over towards Graffiti, but the bomb is going to be planted. But there is already a fast monster flank coming in, and Fenrir getting that frag on towards Aspect means that this retake is going to be all the more possible. Rocker emerging from the monster smoke takes down Scrubby, and now it's a 4v3 and locked out of the sights. Actually, I was going to say they're locked out of the sight, but Cupcake and Luke are going to make sure that is the case. Rocker's going to chime in for one of his own. Now it's a 2v2, tap in the bomb. Luke going to take out Rocker. Now it's a 1v2. Fenrir, you absolute madman. Both of them are low. Let's see what they can get done. Is he safe? Oh, never mind. My bad. Aspiration post 10 on the T side. Pretty good outcome for them. 10-5 is the halftime score. And Aspiration, they're looking pretty good on their map pick.
Definitely. Oh, this is actually XVG's map pick, to tell you the truth. They won the life, and this is their first map pick. So, yeah, the XVG, losing their map pick at the moment. Much better towards the end of the half. They did get a 6 in a row, as you mentioned previously, and then it became sort of a lot more back and forth and scrappy, which is more or less what I was expecting from this game. But I think most important to note here is just how good Luke and Scrubby have been, and have shut us up about the aim duel situation. But as we get back into the pistol round here, Andrew's going to be pushing through. He gets flashed in his back, and it is going to result in him going down. Harper J manages to take the kill. Rocket gets a trade in amongst the firefight, and there is going to be another just straight push from Rocker. He's just going to look for info and see if anybody wants to overpeak. Obviously very confident in his Glock skills. He gets some good damage out towards the CTs. The man here in water is going to be the danger man for them if he's going to swing right here onto the bomb side. He is. Luke gets himself one. Can he get himself a second? No, he can't. It is going to be Harper J in support, and now it's a 3v1 with Rocker sitting towards the tunnels area. He's got two people on low HP. There should be 1 or 2 touches to take them both down, and they are going to come in from both sides, and it does mean that Aspiration is going to pick up the CT pistol.
They finally traded pistols, but one thing to keep in mind, XVG won the pistol round, but they failed to convert. So they've got the bomb plant, so the question is, do you invest? I'm personally I'm actually a massive fan of the drop deagles and of the buy armor and drop a deagle, and then the players without armor drop AKs. I'm a massive fan of a strat like that. Yes, it doesn't work out most of the time, or not most of the time, but doesn't work out sometimes, but I'm always a fan of that, to take the gunfights to the side of the CTs, especially when they haven't survived with too many players. I think it's quite a decent play, but they're going to go for the partial investment, just some upgraded pistols and armor backing some of them. But Aspiration, they should be looking at a 12th on the board before they see XVG's first buy round, which is going to be quite interesting to see the end of this game.
Yeah, and they've opted once again for the deco. They seem to really like this to XVG. They have been getting out some good damage, but as you said, conversion hasn't been the best, even though they've been in better positions. They've sort of overplayed their hand in position. It has improved marginally as the game has been progressing. Every round they seem to be a little bit more patient and a little bit more aware of the CT positioning, but Aspect has the game here. He's got the number, he's got a scope, and he's got Luke, the best player on their team right now, in backup. Kingslayer is going to start taking a fight from headshot. A Rocker hits a mean shot, absolutely rips the teeth out of the man over there. Aspect does get in some good damage. He is being pressured from multiple angles here. He decides to back off, which is the better move for the retake. They did invest quite heavily into this round, and Alo with the stolen M4 manages to get a kill, which is less than ideal. It's starting to all fall apart for them. A nice shot through the wall comes through from Cupcake, so it is going to put it back into a 2-on-3. Both of them do have full HP. Not much util left, only two flashes in the smoke, so they are going to have to do something with it here. Are they going to know about the man Fenrir in position on the close angle? They aren't, and he's going to peek out. He's not going to be able to get the kill. Kinslayer does manage to get the trade, however, now it is a 1-on-2. Aspect gets the first kill, but he doesn't know where Rocker is, and Rocker's played this to absolute perfection. He's not going to be able to get a gun through the round for sure, but neither is Aspect, actually. He's going to get taken down by the bomb. An absolute masterclass play there from XVG.
Honestly, like XVG, they were just capitalizing on the poor CT setup from the side of Noble Aspiration, and the reason why I was laughing at the end of the round is because one of the Noble Aspiration players dinked his teammate, and his teammate like turned around and said, "This guy's to the left," and then there wasn't anyone there because they dinked him on the retake. But XVG, they post up a pretty important round in the grand scheme of things, because Aspiration, they've pretty much reinvested into this one. They're definitely not going to buy next round. So XVG, if you post this round, you're looking at 7. Another eco, you should be looking at 8, which means you're in touching distance to the side of Nibble Aspiration, but there shouldn't really be much to write home about in this round. But something to keep from last round, that being the first gun round, pretty much. Well, it should not have been. It should have just been an easy round for Aspiration. But the CT setup on that round was really not good. I spoke about XVG. Like, if you're boosting short, you have to have info monster. And the fact is that they didn't. A player just walked up monster, killed the guy toxic, and then the two players don't have any real estate in the bomb site. So, and you can't really play retake because you're not in the greatest positions. But yeah, I'm personally more of a fan of having a player the left side of monster if you're CT, and then a player maybe playing towards like the wood position over towards short or by pillar, so you can pivot over towards the two players, one playing over towards pit, one playing over towards monster. You can pivot between the two players where the T's are pressuring. But Aspiration, rather, they're just making this round as expensive as possible. They catch 2 on the exit, and that is an AK that's going to be saved from Scrubby. But if you're Aspiration, you're not going to invest into this round, and XVG should be posting 8. And the operative word there is should.
Yeah, because we've seen some things happen.
Yeah, we've seen some funky business. We've seen some funky business. That's all I'm saying.
The Costas curse is real today. That way, it's been there for sure. I didn't like that actually at the end of the round. It's a bit of an overplay. There's no reason to push in that direction, especially a double push. Once you've seen that there's 3 people camping there really shouldn't be any need to push that. They're going to do another mid push, which is going to result in another set of weapons. And I believe that they once again had the info, did XVG. So obviously overplaying their hand somewhat. Good damage coming out, so the CTs are all quite low, minus Scrubby, who's got that AK in hand, who's bringing up the rear. But now they are going to be running straight into Kingslayer. Do they look at this corner? No, they don't. She's going to peek out, get 2, 3 absolutely sick kills. That was wild. That was
I didn't
wild.
even see the
Good
third
job.
kill. What?
It happened through the edge of the wall, man, and then Fenrir gets
Oh,
lost
there's
too.
the body. Oh no, that's dirty. That's
That was
dirty.
very dirty.
Oh my, respect. 8-11. Oh, I was like, you said 3. I was like, she only got 2. We were like, come on, like let's be factual here. But then what? Anyway, XVG, they posted their 8th, but Nibble Aspiration, they've got the big green gun on the server, and like every round we just see teammate someone else. I gotta respect it.
Rocket takes a knife in the back from his teammate. Obviously, a Brutus and Julius solution happening over there. Julius Caesar, not Julius Malema. Aspect starts to take a fight towards mid. He gets gunned down a little bit. Takes 3 damage for his troubles. Does get some info. They've probably processed the info that he's pushed back into this area. It is a slightly better peak spot, but he's not going to get anything done. Andrew's going to be able to take him out. That's a free big green gun for the T's, which puts them in quite a good position. It does for XVG. They've sort of removed that threat from the map, and now there's only 4 CTs on this difficult defense. How are they going to play it out from here? And slow and methodical is going to be the answer, which we do very much favor. They are going to do a slow push through here onto the A bomb site by the looks of things, and it's going to be Cupcake and Scrubby who are here to receive.
Definitely, there's Cupcake and Scrubby, which are going to be welcoming the T's onto the bomb site, but they're playing retake, which I'm a pretty big fan of. Cupcake, she's beyond the smoke, or he, I'm not sure, maybe she, I have no idea, but anyway, bomb is going to be planted, a 5v4 retake, and what XVG did quite well is just with that smoke and molly over towards B, you've drawn out that extra bit of util, just leech that out of the side of Nibble Aspiration. So now they don't have a player with util that they previously had, that he dropped the smoke over towards short, but the retake's going to come in. They've only got a flash to do so. Allah's good for 1 and Rocker 1 for his own. He's actually good for 2, and now it's Hyper J left in a 1v3. He's going to get caught reloading in the open, and XVG are going to post the 9th. And at the end of the day, that round again just comes down to the CT setup. You've got 4 players B, which is perfectly fine. You can put 4 players B in the early round, but you can't have an AWPer lowers. Like, out of all players to put an AWPer, you put him lowers. So it's just the CT setups that are coming down. It's not really great play from the side of XVG. It's not really horrible play from the side of Aspiration in that regard. It's literally just the setup is a bit wonky, which I think if you adjust the setup, you could be looking good. But XVG, they've posted their 9th, should be posting their 10th. And again, I say should because we've seen some pistol rounds getting traded hectically throughout this game. But yeah, you never know. You never know.
And as we say that, there's a trade, and they figure out that everybody's in water. Allah is set up here with the SSG. He realizes there might be someone pushing, so good presence of mind from him. to back off, and really good presence of mind from the rest of XVG to push onto the A bomb site, take the plant for free, get really good post-plant positions. They can pretty much go wherever they want at this point. And it does look all but over. Hyper J eats some AK for his troubles, gets that AK eyeball surgery happening. And they are only going to be 2 CTs left on the side of Aspiration. And it looks like it's time to jam.
Yeah, definitely. It's jam time from the side of Aspiration, you know. You can save that AK into next round. Nothing wrong with doing so. Sometimes it's fine to swallow your pride. I get it. You could just give them the round. But again, XVG, they've posted 10th pretty cleanly for the most part. They've only dropped 1 player, which is good. It allows the money to build up a bit more. And as I say that, they drop another to the bomb, which is a bit of a misplay. But the fact is that 3 players stayed alive. And if you're ecoing, if you want players to stay alive, 3 is the magic number. If you have 3 players staying alive, that means 2 players can still drop. But if 2 players only stay alive, then there's a bit of a problem. That means 1 player has to fully invest from their own bank account, which means that the eco from the side of the CTs would have done a good job. But XVG, they've posted their 10th. The economy's still looking reasonably good for the most part. They do have 2 players above the 8k mark. Allah's around the 6k mark. The other 2 players are a bit on the ropes, but Aspiration, they're going to fully invest into this one. And the first tactical timeout has been called, which is something interesting to keep in mind. We haven't seen many of these. Not many teams actually utilize them to their full effect. But Aspiration, they've lost a couple rounds in a row, and they want to talk things over.
I really like the timing of that as well. You know, just before we invest, do the full buy. Let's maybe rethink our strategy, take it into the next round, maybe with, like you said, a bit of a better setup. They really need someone to control lowers at minimum, or the water side, just to sort of shut that down, because it's turning into a bit of a headache for them. And this round, it looks like it's going to be absolutely no different. Rocket is just going to burst through there. He's going to be able to get that water control. Now they can effectively, they've got the best rotational point in the middle of the map. There's nowhere else for you to effectively rotate that isn't on opposite ends. And Overpass is quite big. It's quite a long sort of running distance for that. And when seconds count, that can be the difference between a round win and a round loss. And here comes the B execute. It is going to be Cupcake and Scrubby here to receive, along with their teammate Aspect, who's posted with the AWP. But Andrew's going to pick up one. Cupcake's going to get one to the fire. Scrubby's going to pick up another one. This is a much better setup from Aspiration. They get themselves 4 before the bomb has been planted. And that's just Rocket left on site, really pinned down and stuck here. He does manage to pick up Scrubby, but he's going to take a lot of damage for his troubles. Only 5 HP left, and Hyper J is going to get the semi-wall bang there onto him, and that's going to be the round for the CTs. Much better. That pause, whatever they did in that pause, it worked.
Yeah, I'd agree with you for the most part, because the one thing that didn't work was the mid molly. So clearly they wanted to fight for middle, which is perfectly good. But they got to start landing that molly, because if XVG starts to pressure that mid position and that molly's not down, that means not only have you wasted $600, but you're going to push an area which you think is mollied, which isn't. And that's going to be a bit of a tough scenario for the side of Aspiration. But the fact is that they've gone back to this 2-man B setup instead of the 4-man B setup, which you saw in the first buy round. And they're going to go back towards the 3A setup, but they've left 2 towards long, which I'm not a massive fan of, because you're still quite disjointed. You can contact up towards bathrooms and leave the player on the side pretty much in a 1v5 effectively. But we are going to see what XVG do if they have the read. Hyper J, he's going to push for some info along with his teammate Luke over towards long, so they're going to get all this info pretty much for free. But are they going to catch the timing towards the players entering bathroom? But Fenrir's, his spidey senses are tingling. He's good for 1. Luke comes in with the trade. And now Rocker's found a hole in the CT defense. He's hightailed it towards the air bomb sites, and he's just going to run up long. He doesn't even care about the player back towards the long side of the map. And Aspect, he's going to peek into no man's land and twice over, and no one's going to win the gunfight, and that's perfectly fine. But XVG, they're going to plant the bomb, and it is going to be a 4v4 retake. Oh, 3v4 retake, rather.
The T's do have the bathroom control with their plant. It is going to be quite difficult without the util needed. They do have a smoke molly, and actually they got 2 smokes, 2 mollies and 2 flashes. I actually do have quite a lot. Aspect is going to need to play a bit more of a supporting role as they go into this, because he's only on 22 HP and the util setup is pretty good. They do manage to get onto the bomb. The defuse is coming through, but Andrew's not having it. He hits the headshot through the smoke, which leaves Aspect now in a 1-on-2. What's he going to do? He's going to opt to run away, but you're never going to survive the bomb on 22 HP from there, I'm afraid. So Nope, you are going to get taken down, and that is going to be another round going to XVG. That does mean that so far since the rounds have switched, we almost actually have a mirror of what happened in the first half. And XVG have gotten 5 in a row compared to 6 with a 1-round stop, and now they're 6th. But the scores were pretty much identical at this point in time. So without the economic standpoint to help them out on Aspect's side, they do have a full loss bonus which will come through in the next round. They are going to be forced into a save, which seems like it's going to make this maybe a bit of a formality, but they do come through and get 2 kills. As I say, that Aspect hits a shot, and Cupcake hits one as well. This is falling apart for XVG very, very quickly.
Like, hello? But
What just
anyway,
happened?
yeah, exactly. Like, what is going on? But what a blunder! But anyway, we're gonna see what Kinslayer and Fenrir can get done. Cupcake holding the angle, and the sound cue is gonna come in, but Kinslayer is gonna open the door with a flash, catch Cupcake in no man's land, which does make the retake of the bomb, not of the bomb site, but just of the bomb, just that more doable. Aspect on low HP, but he's trained on the angle, and they do have a flashbang. They don't have a flashbang, actually, to come through these tunnels. So it should be a free kill for Scrubby, but a good space double P could come in. Fenrir is going to take Scrubby's head off, and now it's Aspect left. In a 1v2, can't get anything done with the preemptive warp shot. And XVG, they were punching above the weight that round after losing to the pistols, but they reel it back. And yes, you took a bit of an economical impact, but the important thing is that you posted the round. 12 all is the scores on the doors. And Aspiration, I've got a full buy coming XVG's way.
A big save there from Fenrir for that round. That went very pear-shaped, very, very quickly.
Yeah.
And as you've noted, a full buy now coming through for Aspiration. They do post the man towards Playground with the AWP, who's going to quickly duck out of there. I think that is probably for the best. We do have some shenanigans going with Rocker going towards lowers. Hyper J is actually in position on this angle now, which does cut off that rotation. The smoke coming out, which is going to let Rocker know that there is a player in that position. So the info then comes through. The molly is out, but he's still going to get caught out by Hyper J, who he probably didn't know about in that position. Allah is set up towards water for any more CT shenanigans, but at the moment the CTs are holding strong with the 5v4. There are 2 players very, very tagged up, but they are going to just keep onto those lives, those guns, and those eyes and ears. And now withdrawing into the site, I much prefer this setup from Aspiration.
Oh, 100%. And they do find themselves a man to the good. You're gonna see if that can get wrestled back by Allah, and a player. Ooh, he doesn't even shoot. Be there as it may, the site hits does seem to be the B1, which is only 2 players here and one over towards heaven, which does mean they've selected the weaker bomb site, but the hit needs to come in, and needs to come in now before the rotates come in. So XVG, they've missed the timing, but there's going to be 4 players hitting the bomb site all through Monster. Allah gets 1, and Kinslayer catches Luke in no man's land and actually gets 2 on the entry, and that is a well-executed site from the side of XVG. For the most part, Aspiration just don't seem to have the answers. So there's going to be a 2v4 retake now. A resmoke towards heaven comes in, and it does look like Aspiration are locked out of this round.
Yeah, that was quite a nice recovery from an early pick. They just slowed it down, grouped up, did a good shove with a fair bit of util, and a good heaven smoke forces Luke out onto the balcony. So their magic man gets put in the middle of no man's land, gets taken down there by Kinslayer on the entry. I really like that they all, you know, hold W simultaneously so that they can get those multiple setup angles, so that Luke can't just rain in death from the guys pushing through short. It was much better teamwork from them, and it seems like they've settled to a large extent, and they're moving together much better. Kinslayer's come up quite a lot now, the second best player on their team with a 19 for 888 ADR. We do still see Luke and Fenrir, the 2 number 1 players on each team. Something that's interesting, just for the Aspiration side, is 30 effective flashes on Cupcake. What a support player, man!
Yeah.
What a flash throw!
Yeah, exactly. And we were speaking about the team play prior to this game, and that's something you need. You need a really good support player to allow your entries to effectively entry the bomb sites. And to think that Aspiration were up 10-5, and now they're really struggling coming into the second half, shows that Cupcake's flashes, they've been looking good, which allows the entries to come in. But This is a pretty pivotal round, more so for the side of Aspiration than it is for XVG. If Aspiration eco, then I mean, if lose this round rather, then they're going to have a real tough time to try wrestle this map back in their favor. But they have been smoked off over towards Banana. There's this bathroom setup, which I'm not a massive fan of. I must say it's very overused. It does seem to be more of a one and done in that sort of round. But Aspiration, they're going to get pincered. They're in no man's land. Both of them are in front of bathrooms, and no one's really on the bomb site, which means they're sitting ducks over towards the side of the map. Andrew's going to take Aspect's head off, but if Luke goes overlooked, he could be good for a couple frags of his own, but he's only good for one, bobbing and weaving, but he eventually gets taken out by Kinslayer. That means it is going to be a 2v4 retake coming in. Scrubby over towards APC gets taken out, and the flank from Cupcake is going to come in. The bomb is going to be planted, and Cupcake gets one, but ultimately traded out for Allah, and now XVG are looking real good to close out this map.
Yeah, their momentum just increased significantly. They're not giving much respect over to Aspiration. Aspiration, like, it felt like they're a little bit scared. It felt like they were actually put into a state of fear. Luke was, frantically looking back and forth. He hadn't been spotted out. Like you said, if he had just had that trigger discipline, he could have turned that into maybe 2 or 3, even pushed into the smoke in bathrooms to put himself in a better position there. But it seems like nerves is starting to creep into the Aspiration side. When they've had the 10-5, they were looking really solid, really good team play, converting rounds that they perhaps shouldn't have been. It was happening on both sides, but more in their favor. But now, as we've moved into this side, they've only won 2 rounds on CT.
Yeah, it is a bit of a rip in that regard, but at the end of the day, what I've gathered from watching this Aspiration team, I haven't actually seen any of their games prior to this, so this is the first time I'm dwelling my eyes on them. And their CT side, it's coming down just to their setups, pretty much. Their CT setups just aren't up to scratch. They're not playing positions in which they can peek and trade off one another. They seem to just be playing a sort of setup that you see other teams do. So you're going to play this bathroom setup, but then you don't seem to have a fallback. Like, yes, that's your phase 1, but then what's going to happen after that, after you get contact? What you're going to do? This does seem to just be a wipe up round from the side of XVG. There shouldn't really be too much more that should happen, which should come out. Luke on 24 HP, he gets taken up by Fenrir, but it's literally just come down to the setups from the side of Aspiration, right? You've only posted 2 CT rounds. One of them was the pistol. So you posted 1 gun round, which actually I don't even think it was a gun round. I think it was an eco. So if you're Aspiration, at the end of this, you just got to focus on your setups. You've got to focus on positions in which you can peek off one another, trade off one another, early aggression, which you've seen them trying to do towards middle, but it just doesn't seem like they're going to have the number of XVG. 15-12, and XVG are looking really good to close out this map.
Yeah, they're much better on the attacking side than they were on the CT. They also had a couple of fumbles there in their setup for sure. And they've honestly, in a lot of senses, what they seem to be doing just a little bit better than Aspiration is feeding information and then taking advantage based on that. Andrew gets himself a kill on a man on the boost, which is less than ideal for the CTs. They're going to be now in a 4v4. They had actually a man advantage. There was no reason to take that peak. And there is a really good fake coming through from Rocker here, selling the A push quite heavily. So there are only 2 CTs towards that site. He does have Luke behind him, who's in a better position, but it's not even going to matter because Aspect is going to give him the 338 Lapua treatment. And that is, so there's only going to be 3 Ts left towards the B side. Fenrir decides to hold W. He picks up the kill. Harper J trades it out. Andrew trades him out. And it does mean that they are going to get the bomb side. Is this going to be the penultimate round? Aspect might have something to say about that. He picks up both. He puts himself on a really nice AWP angle from the... It's really hard to get up there and see up there properly with the AK. So good job from him to put himself in that position. It was kind of weird, that peak, though. I don't actually know who died last there. I didn't pick up the name, unfortunately, but that was a bit of an odd peak from XVG. Could have gone over to the right hand side and kept yourself in cover, but they are sitting on match point. They do have another buy. They might even have another buy in the tank if the right players survive the round. They do have a player with 7k and 4k, so they're on the precipice of taking this. It is their game and their map to lose. The likelihood of an overtime, I don't think, is that great. at the moment, but at least Aspiration is taking a bit better water control at the moment. So they have got that B side locked up. XVG realizes this, only Allah is towards there, feeding them info, and they are going to start pushing towards the A bomb site, where it's only Aspect on the long position. He now has to hightail it back to the site to get himself in position for some information gathering.
Frag.
Luke is going to pick up a frag though on the lurker man towards B. Now the shove is going to come in through to the A bomb site. Will they be able to take it here, Nick?
Oh, you know, there's one player. There's actually two players over here towards the A bomb site with the rotates coming in. But you're playing completely retake, which is good. You've got a whole bunch of utility, which you can do so. But now XVG, they hightailing it back towards B, which does seem a bit of a last-minute decision, especially when you've only got a smoke and a flash at the bomb site. But we are going to see what they can get done. Maybe catching the CTs in transition or out of position could allow for an entry into the site. Luke is going to take first contact and get traded out, but Cupcake's been spotted out, so he's living on borrowed time. The bomb is actually going to be planted. Doesn't matter. Kinslayer's watching Andrew's back, and now it's a 2v2. The smoke over towards bridge does allow Andrew to get out and dodge. So there's Kinslayer and Andrew left in a 2v2. A smoke on the side of Scrubby could be dropped on towards the bomb. But it is going to be a 2v2, and the T's, they're playing completely off the bomb site, which does mean it is going to be a bit of a touch and go situation if the smoke does get deployed on the bomb. But Aspect, he's almost caught up by Andrew, but Andrew spots Scrubby before the smoke blooms. Now it's Kinslayer left in a 1v2. The bomb is being stuck, but taken out is Aspect by Kinslayer now in a 1v1. And Kinslayer wins it out. Kinslayer with the 1v2 clutch allows XVG to get the 16-13 victory on Overpass, which means Mirage is going to be an exciting matchup, you know? Like, Overpass won out by XVG. I would say, I don't know if it was expected, but XVG, they did have a really good T setup. And as I said, it just comes down to the CT setups on the side of Noble Aspiration. They just went up to standard, but XVG, they post the first map.
Yeah, and look, it is their map pick, so a really good comeback for them from a 10-5 situation to get the 16-13. They only allow the CTs to convert 3 whole rounds, which is pretty good going from that position. But it's I think it's told us that their attacking CS has much better structure than their CT-sided or defensive CS, which is going to be interesting, I think, on Mirage, because like you said, it's sort of that bread and butter map. It's almost like Dust 3 at this point, where it's so well known, the positions are so well rehearsed, everybody knows where they need to be at what sort of point in time in the rounds and stuff. There's so much stratting and counter-stratting, and all of it almost becomes irrelevant, and I feel like it's largely based on mid-round calls, which has been a really good strong position for XVG in the last map that we saw. I do believe we are going to go to a short break now, however, and then we will be back at least with XVG Miracle versus Noble Aspiration map 2, map 1 going the way of XVG. But we will see you guys in 5 minutes, and stay with us until then. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I do hope you've enjoyed the brief intermission. But myself and the madman, Mr. Nick Bart, over here to my left on your screen, are back with the next game between Aspiration Esports and XVG Miracle, who pulled off quite a miraculous second half, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean, you were 10-5 down on the T side, on the CT side rather, of Overpass, and we just saw their T side look polished. It looked good. And they were ultimately able to finish out the map 16-13, and big ups to the side of XVG. Pistols were traded, but something to keep in mind that map is both teams won each pistol, but neither team were able to convert, which is actually quite a big theme. Maybe we'll see that in Mirage as well. But XVG, props to them. They were able to win out 16-13, but now Wiki, want to cast your eyes over towards Mirage. You know, it's the map all of us know. It's the Dust 3. You know what's going to happen over on Mirage. Maybe is a team going to take middle? I don't know. Of course they are, but I mean, we're going to see what happens. It's Mirage. We've seen it all. It's Dust 3, as you say. So rehearsed. Everything's been done. But I want your prediction. You know, is XVG going to take it in 2, or are Nibble Aspiration going to take us to the 3rd?
Well, to be honest, if Aspiration still has Bot Ted as a sub by that point in time, I definitely think they're going to take it. You can't mess with Bot Ted, dude. He's the highest AI level on the server, so we're going to have to watch out for him. But in real rap CS at the moment, it's been quite interesting, actually. We had Crit 5 Mist do a Mirage, and basically Mist never took mid control. They opted rather to stay inside the bomb sites and let Critical 5 play into them. It didn't actually work out for them in the long run. They lost quite narrowly. I think the final score was 16-12 or 16-11 actually. So I think you know, mid control being so central to the T push, where whoever has the better tacking mid control, I think, is going to take this one. These guys are going to knife for side, and it is quite a sacrilege to cast it. So I'll open the floor for you, Mr. Nix. If you want to cast it, then go ahead.
Look, all I say is have yourself some stabby stab. You know, that's all I'm going to say. Let's just stabby stab and feast your eyes on it for the stabby stab. As the stabby stab takes place, we can watch our eyes on some of the stabby stab and see what the teams can get done in the stabby stab to see ultimately who comes out on top in the stabby stab and who can pick the side after winning the stabby stab.
Brilliant. Such Eastrand level casting. I can feel the experience coming through. Thank you, Nix, for taking that for us. And it does mean, though, that Aspiration is going to start on the T side, that XVG is going to opt to rather start on the CT side, and they're going for the exact same buy with all armor and no util.
You know...
I just wanted to break your heart, man.
We just need the aim. If they can come up with the aim, there's nothing wrong with it. You know, if something went right, you can't critique it. That's the history. You know, if something went right, nothing went wrong. But 2 smokes have been brought out from the side of Nibble Aspiration. 2 smokes over towards jungle and stairs, and the opt is to take CT. But actually, they're going to go through the jungle smoke. They're absolutely wilding, and Luke's going to catch 2. Actually, Cupcake is going to steal his kill. Fenrir's going to get 1 in the meantime, as the CT smoke is not in place. As Hyper J takes our Kinslayer. Now, there's no kit. Something went wrong, and that is the fact that no one bought a kit. Fenrir and Allah with armor trying to retake the site, no kit in hand, means that it does look like the first round is going to go the way of Nibble Aspiration.
Oh. And it's almost the more nails in the coffin as we say that Allah now in a 1-on-4. There's no real point to be saving at this point. So they are going to decide to rather... Well, I think he's got to get some damage. His primary goal at this point in time, which he's not going to be able to get. So quite a nice little easy first round from Aspiration. They do take the shove onto A side, which then results in the round win. And they are going to force really hard behind this. Get those Galils going. I'm pumped actually for round 2. We've got a deco, which is always going to come out from XVG pretty much every time they can. And then we've got a force bar on the side of Aspiration. the Deegs have a lot of work to do, really. And we're going to see it starting off with Rocco, who's going to try and take some shots in towards the window and mid area. We do have the man Allah pushed up on short, so he's going to be able to support from there. The T's have got quite a deep position here on Cat, and they are going to start pushing through. They are going to run into Allah, and Rocco's going to be there on the trade. He's going to get retraded out. Now there's only Fenrir left on the bomb side. He does manage to pick up the first kill, but that is going to be the B bomb side for our T's. Andrew does push in quite sneakily here. Is he going to be able to get anybody on the cross? No, the cross happens before you can even see it happening. Scrubby fires in not the best nade ever towards the market, and things are now going to slow down to a more sedate, leisurely pace. And as I say that, Andrew just destroys Scrubby, getting some good damage on that force bar. Only the 2 Galils left. Is Kinslayer going to jump out the window as well? Yes, she is, into the waiting arms of Luke.
Yeah, and if you're XVG going into that round, your primary objective obviously would have been to win the round, but we know you've only got Deagles and Alma behind them. The fact is that you caused economical damage for the side of Noble Aspiration, so now the buy isn't going to be looking too great. So you've got a couple Mac 10s which should clean up the round for the most part, but if you lose even more scalps this round, you're really going to have a tough time in the first buy round. But Andrew over towards CT, we've spoken his praises, and he's going to get something done with the Deagle, just pepper down some shots down raised. But Fenrir, he's rotated in. Andrew's picked up one in the meantime. Fenrir's got another and a third. Oh my days, Fenrir. He's rigging this round back. Oh my god! What? Fenrir!
He just pulled a happy. He just pulled a happy, bro. What was that, Fenrir? Dude, that ow. Very ow. He keeps peeking, he keeps pre-firing, and he keeps taking off heads. The 50 cal dental is the premium dental. That's definitely not going to be covered by your health insurance. Absolutely disgusting bit of play, and it's going to result in a big green gun for the CTs.
Okay. I'm just going to quickly say, why did Rocker buy the orb? But anyway, that's it. But it's going to be a full B rush from the side of Actually, they've chosen to just take a bit of a chill pull. I think I need a chill pull after Fenrir went absolutely massive, and now like what? You know, like what? Like that wasn't in the script, Fenrir. Aspiration was supposed to win that round. But anyway, B hit's gonna come in. Fenrir says, "Listen, Oaks, I've got 4 kills the last round. Come to my site. B is closed. I repeat, B is closed."
Nice pause, nice delay. I like that. Worked really well. Timing strike didn't get you on that one. I was going to leave the pause until it happened, by the way. I was just going to see how long it took, but they do manage to clean that up. Fenrir, just as you say, just shutting down that B push. Just kind of had a sixth sense for things. Maybe he's done a little bit of studying into his opponents to put himself in that position. I mean, there was no way that he could have known, right, that they were going to be there. So just like really good forethought from him to be like, hey, I feel like these guys are going to push B. Let me go sit myself in this position. And the terrorists just do a timeout on the after of that, probably just scratching their heads a little bit like, guys, have we been counter strategy? Are we being anti-strategy? Do they know what we're going to do? Maybe we do something a bit different, change up our pace, because Fenrir 2 rounds in a row, 2 MVPs, 8 for 3, 202 ADR, just smashes them back into this
absolutely. Fenrir is feeling it coming in to this second map, but we are going to see what they can get done. Aspiration, they haven't really invested too much into this round. They're going to go back towards B once again, but you know who's at B? We've spoken his name a couple times. He's already closed you off twice, but you're going to entertain him once more. Let's see what Fenrir can get done. He's dropped the nade, which has done decent damage. But Fenrir, he's only good for 1 as Luke trades him out. And now it's going to be a 4v4 post plant on the B bomb side. Allah's going to try push the issue over towards Cat, try catch some players in transition. Takes down Luke, and Rocker's going to take down Scrubby in the meantime. So it does look to be all said and done for Noble Aspiration. They're living on borrowed time in this round, but they've got the bomb plant, which does mean next round should be a very, very healthy buy from the side of from both sides, actually. So this next round is going to be exciting to see. But XVG, they posted their 3rd, and it's the 2 of Aspiration. And this is going to be an exciting round to see how the rest of the map could unfold.
And you know what's so important for them is in those 3 rounds in a row now, they've lost 4 players in 3 rounds. So their economic advantage is already starting to build up. Andrew's sitting on nearly 6k with a full buy. This is looking really positive for them right now. This round, though, is very important. We do have big green guns on the side of Aspiration. We've got AKs, we've got util. There's all the toys for the boys and girls. this is a big one. If they don't take this one, it's probably going to be at least another 2 rounds on the trot. Because even with the loss bonus, they're only going to come up to, what, mid-3000s with that kind of money? It's not looking good for Aspiration to lose this one. This is critical. And that's not the way you want to start it off. Getting caught out on ramp, Kinslayer does manage to pick up the first kill. And it's already going to be a 5v4. And look at Fenrir.
Now
Look
you're going
at
to
him.
rotate an
He's
info.
He knows that they're not there. He's got the good info, so they can only be towards mid and B. And Harper J is going to be able to pick up Rocket to bring it back, and Aspect is going to pick up one of his own to bring it back there. But the lurker, the man in the rear, Mr. Fenrir, is going to be coming up on them now. But they've done so much damage. Is it even going to matter? It doesn't look like it's going to matter because they're just going to swarm now onto the AO bomb site. Allah is also going to get taken down on short, and now the man that was getting all the info for them is the last man alive. This has gone from being a really good position to kind of not the most ideal, a little bit average for them. Fenrir is going to pick up the first kill towards Aspect, hearing that man out in that position, does manage to pick himself up that frag. But yeah, like really good play there from the T's, good entries, managing to pick up those kills through mid, realizing that A is probably the best place to be in and pushing through there. Fenrir is going to go for it though, but it's perhaps a fool's errand, and he's going to get taken down. I think it was time to Jame there.
Yeah, I think it was definitely safe territory from the side of Fenrir and the side of XVG, but I always say Counter-Strike is definitely a game of push and pull. If the T's take something, the CTs have to take something back. So something to keep in mind that round is Fenrir had all that real estate ramp. He knew no one was ramp, he knew no one was palace. So why are you still posting people up in connector? There's really no need to. You can have your CT Orpa literally tickets and he's getting 3 kills and now Rocker's in the middle of nowhere. But like that setup again from the side of the CTs just doesn't add up. You've got so much real estate, you can give the T's the other things. You know they're probably going to go B because of all the info you got, but you're just losing those duels in middle, and then the T's walk into an open A bomb site rather after winning the duels, and now XVG find themselves a man down, but they do seem to have some sort of a read, having a bit of an A lean over here with the deep apps aggression. So question is, can Andrew get things done with the AWP? He gets the first on towards Hyper J and a nade in response. He's going to go for a second. Does look to be the case, but Kinslayer is in no man's land. Fenrir comes out with the trade and another through the smoke. Fenrir is being an absolute madman in the rear and maybe going to try get something else done. Oh my days, this man, he's cheating. Look at his smokes. Titan, is that you? Andrew takes out Aspect, and XVG, as soon as I was critiquing how they play in the game, they just respond back and say, Nick, shut up, we got this in the bag. And even with the man down, Nibble Aspiration have no response, and XVG have posted their 4th.
Yeah, no, that went from bad to worse very, very quickly for them. Fenrir, the spanner in the works that time, just decides, no guys, I've had enough of you just holding W. I'm going to post this angle, get myself some good sprays, and you guys are going to go back to spawn. Unfortunately, look at the push lowers. Rocker in a bad position. Good to trade there to even get the first kill. I think that is a win for him, but it's not the best for the CTs. Allah giving away his position on the audio queue, so he does decide to do a bit of a spam there. He's got to be careful of the man towards top mid who's going to start pressuring him now. He does have util to slow this lowest push down, and there is a man right up in here, well, a woman in the form of Kinslayer at least, who's probably going to take some contact here. Gets the first, gets taken down by Hyper J, so a good trade. A smoke does come out, and Allah's right underneath the short boost window there. Is he going to be able to get the first? He does. He picks up Hyper J, who decides to go for a jumping peak. That's not the best. Allah gets a nice shot into Scrubby as he's falling down, and Fenrir comes in for the last kill. Nice, tidy, tight work there. Fenrir on a 14 for 5 though. Man's a beast. 188 ADR.
Nerf him. He's literally got Thor at his... he's got him, sorry. He definitely not Thor. It's not Thor. It's Fenrir as the profile picture, and he needs to be nerfed. Like, Fenrir, he's just having a field day against Nibble Aspiration on CT. CT Mirage, and it's going to be the double AWP setup coming out again. Rocker and Andrew choosing to wield those weapons against the full buy of Nibble Aspiration. And mid control is going to go the way of Aspiration. A bit of a Malian response from the side of the CTs, but mid control is going to go the way of Aspiration. And one thing I always say about Mirage is it's relatively easy for the most part to take mid, but now is your mid round. How are you going to activate towards A and towards B? Fenrir's got all this real estate over towards apps. And he's gonna, this is a pug for Fenrir. He's just gonna flash and push through the smoke and get all that real estate once again. So if you're Allah, you know they're not gonna go B unless they go all through cat, which the likelihood of that happening is less than 0. So why are you in cat at the moment? Fenrir's gonna push lowers and get one of his own. He spots out Cupcake in close ramp. Kinslayer gets taken out by Scrubby. Andrew gets one in response, and the dink of Scrubby gets taken down by the AWP bullet to the brain. 448 damage goes his way. That's Cupcake and Aspect left in the 2v3.
It's always so satisfying when the AWP sculpts like that. It's juicy. And Fenrir is still causing flank shenanigans. He goes all the way back around and comes out top of mid to be able to get that kill, get the bomb info, and then it's going to be fed back to Rocco, who's on the angle. Double AWP setup, both playing on A. That's just interesting of itself in a lot of ways, that there's no one playing the cat with, or like, actually, what is the best setup, double AWP setup on Mirage?
I think it's quite interesting to see how different teams approach it. So Heroic, for example, they have Stan AWPing over towards B. He literally posts B apps the whole round, and then they have an AWP middle, which that AWP middle, after he takes mid contact, you can play a side setup over towards A, having 2 players playing it towards the sides and 1 player playing towards CT, something along those lines. Or you can have like an AWP CT posted ramp the whole round. There shouldn't really be much to say in this round. That's why we're rambling on about where to play with AWPs. But in my opinion, I think it is quite powerful to have an AWP mid and an AWP B, because that AWP B, you're good for 1, you fall back, you AWP that window, which simple does great effect. You get free kills pretty much. I think it is more versatile to have a rifler anchoring there bomb side rather than an AWPer. But I think I'm more a fan of the mid AWPer and the B AWPer. But really, it's much of a muchness. You can. On Mirage, you can AWP wherever you want, you know? Like, no one really cares. Fenrir doesn't care. He's already on 18 kills. Like, Fenrir is just having the time of his life. Seven rounds going the way of XVG, and Fenrir, he's shown up, you know? Maybe, I don't know, I think he was second fragging to Andrew on Overpass, but he just wants to take the reins this map, you know? Fenrir, he's just having the time of his life. He's just vibing, you know? He's just chilling.
Definitely. But kind of what Aspiration's not really doing is even playing sort of like defaults. Aspect gets a nice shot through smoke on mid, but they're not spreading out enough. They're not getting the info, which they actually decide to do this round, which is a better play from them. Allah gets a nice shot into apps on Cupcake to bring it back to a 4v4. But this is a much better setup from them. I much prefer this. There is some spread out so that Fenrir can't just push in wherever he wants. He is going to try perhaps here on ramp, and then Luke's actually going to be in position. So this is much better from them, that they're not giving up their flanks quite so easily. But here comes the shove. They are going to go through connector. RJ is going to get stopped by that flash and rather decide to pause for a moment. Fenrir here's the man towards ramp. He does a peek out and gets the first kill. He's going to swing back, but he's being waited on by Hyper J, who takes his head clean off. So they finally started looking at those flanks, and this could be the end of Fenrir's shenanigans, as it does go into a 2v3 in the T's favor. And this does look like it's going to be an easy plant, and possibly actually quite an easy post plant. They've only got Allah really to contest with in mid that they might not know he's here. He does throw in a flash and gives us away his position before he manages to get any info. And there are going to be 3 T's playing from the bomb side, one towards CT on this kind of corner box position. Make that 2. Scrubby takes a good bit of damage there. He does manage to start feeding in some info. A nice nade comes in from Kinslayer, but it's immediately traded by Aspect. Allah gets himself a kill on towards Hyper J. Why is he overextending like that? Perhaps putting his team in a bad position. And now it's just Scrubby on the side, and he's going to get taken down by Allah. It all goes wrong when it looked so right.
That's a dot throw, to say the least, from the side of Aspiration. You've got the post plants. You're stuck in the bomb site. So if you've planted triple, you either take control of CT or you retreat back to ramp as fast as possible and play the post plants there. But even then, if you don't take control of any of those positions, you're just fighting fights that don't need to happen. Yes, you got to pick with your, but then you just get traded out with the nade and you win the 1v2 and you're not peeking off one another and everything's going wrong with the side of Noble Aspiration. You've only got 3 rounds, and those are the one pistol they converted, and then they won another round after that. But Aspiration, their T post plants aren't looking too great, and they're not dotting their T's and crossing their I's. That's definitely where the saying goes. Definitely the way the saying goes. But
the T's and crossing the I's, yeah.
Fact, that's definitely out. Like, what is yeah, nice molly, but you got a molly con if you're gonna go out middle. Like, that's just a given. There's gonna be an AWP there. But anyway, XVG, they find themselves a man to the good, and XVG, they're looking good. And it just seems like wherever Nibble Aspiration go, Fenrir's just waiting. You know, I don't know if that's just me, but it just seems like he's just got their number. And they're going B, and who's there? Who's there again? It's Fenrir. He's waiting for them.
Right on the angle too. Here comes the shove. There is going to be one man out of window. He's going to peek and spray wildly. It does mean he won't get a kill, but he is going to get traded out immediately after that. Far more prepared. A nice shot from Scrubby comes through. There is a man up in behind them though. Are they going to look behind for Rocker, who's doing the flank shenanigans? They are momentarily. It's going to be Scrubby, but he gets taken down. A 6 shot coming through from Rocker. Now it is a 2-on-2. Luke has everything to play for. Throws a good molly though. Rocker down on 5 HP from that. So it is going to be pretty much all on Kingslayer. Does Rock have any util to help out? No, he doesn't. Everything is sitting on Kinslayer, and this man Cupcake in the back of the side is going to cause havoc from here, and that is going to be the round going the way of Aspiration. That's a bit of a turn for the worse for them.
Yeah, I think XVG may have misread the buy. We just saw Rocker there, just a Deagle armor. Maybe he assumed that they were going to save or something along those lines, but
they were actually too poor. On a side note, I did look at that at the start of the round. So he couldn't actually do a buy, even though they've won so many in a row. They died too often in the last 2 rounds. Well, the round before that there was only 2. Then they had a good round and then only 1 on that defuse, which is why they lost that. But
okay, my bad. But then kudos to Noble Aspiration for cleaning that up, but. A bit of a washy buy from the side of XVG is getting cleaned up by the side of Noble Aspiration. This is what we like to see. Playing it methodical, you're holding for this aggression, you're getting the frags. 4 players stay alive, which means, what? Your bank can stop building up. You can stop building this comeback. So you're looking at, if you go through this, because like last round, some players forced, some players didn't. So now if you're XVG, you're forcing again, you don't have util, you don't have the big green gun. Aspiration are looking at an 8-7 to say the least. They really are, because now Fenrir is saving.
Yeah.
Never mind, he's not.
He's gonna, he's gonna dig armor bar. Come on, man, like that, as if there was any doubt. But here comes a really hectic bit of aggression. Cupcake gets himself really deep right into that up position. Allah's there and says, nope, you aren't going to progress any further. I've heard you. That's as far as you come. Rocket does have a nice position. Eats a nade for his troubles on it, though. Scrubby is going to pick up a 2nd kill. So now it's a 4-on-4. Actually, no, that is their first, sorry. But now it is a 4-on-4, which actually favors the T's slightly. CT spread a little bit thin. I do want to see them group up. But yeah, they do.
What's Kinsler's running back? She's like, okay, wait, let me just clear the A site. Okay, she's going to anchor towards CT. But it does look like it is going to be a B lean from the side of XVG. They do have a player Cat and a player towards Van as the B hit does come in. So clock is going to start to tick. Rocker's not blinded by the flashes, and Hyper J jumping out alone gets taken out. But Luke's mixtape takes down Rocker, being too hot to handle. Fenrir with the deagle. He only needs that. He's good for 1. And Andrew comes in with the trade and Kinslayer in on the rotate. XVG post their 9th. In a round where they really shouldn't have had the victory, the freedom to do so. It's just a good read coming out from XVG and just not clearing the site completely before you plant the bomb. Ultimately, it's just mistakes that Aspiration, they're just pretty much being the architects of their own downfall at this stage. But XVG playing good Counter-Strike to say the least. They've posted 9. They're looking at a possible 10-5 half best case scenario, but they do have the inferior weaponry to that of Noble Aspiration. But this info play towards low is coming out from Rocker. He's going to get ahead of the flash and take down Scrubby. But is he going to overstay his welcome? He's going to do so. Cupcake comes in with the trade, as it is going to be a 4v4 mid-round.
Yeah, and that's just definitely going to take a bit of a break pump there from both teams, deciding, okay, you want to bring pace, we'll bring pace. It's kind of weird how it always starts off the same. There's always a trade, you know, a bit of a poke around the map from both teams that they do then end up trading. Is just it's almost serendipitous that it continuously keeps happening. But now, for the first time in a long time, we're actually going to see an A hit coming through. Finally, they're going to push ramp or Aspiration in this last round. Let's see if they can convert the 6th. Nice, slow, methodical push through here, looking for the info. Don't give up their hand until they're already past Sandwich. One man decides to boost right over the top. Is a good flash, though, from Fenrir for the close play. Kinslayer manages to pick up 1 from Firebox. Will she be able to get a 2nd? No, she does get traded in. But Fenrir is just going to push straight over the top in the confusion and pick himself up a kill, which is going to convert for them. Now, man just pushes through the smoke. They weren't ready for it. Aspect is, though, he gets 1. He's in a 1-on-2. He puts it down to a 1v1. He knows the man is close. Is he going to get Andrew? Yes, he is. And that is going to be the 6th round coming through for Aspiration. A huge clutch there from Aspect. Wow, just dominating there with the close range. Really nice work from him. So it is going to be 9-6 for XVG. So definitely a bit of a better position, especially if your attacking CS is as good as XVG's as we've seen in the last map. I think, like you said, they've got to kind of architect their own demise here. If they continue with everything that they've been doing, and Fenrir keeps finding the damage that he has been finding, the writing's on the wall here.
Yeah, it does look to do so, but bit of a weird A setup. You got a smoke top con, and have one flash hit the bomb site, which is a bit questionable. Which means pretty much the flash coming in a bit early, but it is just going to be pretty much a dry hit for the most part. It should just be aimbot to the side of Aspect. He's got 2 of his own. Luke chimes in for 2 of his own, and now it's Andrew left in a 1v5 turned 1v4. It is going to be the Andrew show. The bomb is dropped on the site, which does mean that Andrew doesn't have a lot of room to maneuver with, and it does look like he's living on borrowed time as Scrubby takes his head off. And that is both pistols won by the side of Noble Aspiration, which is something to keep in mind. The fact that in the previous map, we saw them trade pistols. Neither team was able to convert. This map is a bit different. Aspiration were able to win pistol round and convert, but if they don't convert in this round, there's going to be a bit of a touch-and-go situation. But it's just going to be a deco coming out once again. Just a couple, 3 Deagles and 2 P250s, but we've spoken about these eco rounds, you know, like Overpass, we saw them go either way pretty much all the time, but XVG are going to see if they can get something done.
100%. It's a bit of a spot here that these guys do find themselves in. It's not going to bother Allah. He's going to pick up one. Andrew's going to get taken down. Rocker's also going to take him down. Fenrir hits a nutty shot on Hyper J and Apps, but they do spot the bomb out, and Aspect is in position here with the scout. He's going to get some good damage through, throw the molly to block off the position. Fenrir waits on the angle, does go for the one tap, but he's not going to be able to convert. Now Kinslayer putting herself in a good position here in the mid, so she's going to have quite a lot of info. If she pushes through here and doesn't get taken out by Cupcake, that's going to be an open A bomb site, and perhaps he realizes it and decides to rotate into the CT angle. Aspect now going to post it with that scout. Kinslayer might have the whole game here, but as I say that, look at Fenrir. He's going to start pushing forward. They've probably assumed that the bomb is rotated. Fenrir kind of big braining it here to some extent. He is going to push out onto the site and doesn't get spotted by Scrubby in a midst of this, and that is going to be a bomb plant coming through from them, so they are going to get the cash. And actually they have quite a good post plant position. Kinslayer can push up behind them here and catch them off guard. Fenrir is going to play for the close angle with the D, which we've seen he can do some big damage. He's going to need to be able to do it one more time for his team here. He catches Aspect on the reload, but it's not going to be enough, and the guys from Aspiration are going to clean this up. But I will say, all in all, I have to give this as a kind of a win to XVG for getting that plant and now putting themselves in a position where they can do a full AK buy quite comfortably.
Definitely. That's definitely something to keep in mind, how they're going to activate these AKs. I would assume it's going to be 5 AKs coming out. I don't think the AWP's going to be on Rocker. It doesn't look like it's going to be the case. So it is going to be 5 AKs from the side of XVG. But now, as I said prior, we haven't seen much of what XVG can get done on the T side of Mirage. So what are they going to do? I don't think we saw Aspiration throw A smokes once. I don't think we saw it. Oh, there was that one round where Fenrir absolutely wrecked him. But other than that, we're going to see what XVG can get done. Luke's pushing ramp. Takes out Andrew. Dink from his teammate. They get out and dodge. That's nice from Aspiration. They know they're on inferior weaponry. Pushing ramp, not only for info, but an early kill, as Luke actually doubles down on his prior engagements as the flashes are going to come in. Push through the smoke, comes out. And just a bit of a wonky round from XVG. You've lost the opening duels, and it seems like it's going to be panic stations. They're going to try to wrestle the round back, but you know, an opening duel is something that you can't really force it. You can't really force a trade, is something I like to say. The trade either happens or it doesn't. If you can't force a trade, and that's exactly what XVG tried to do. And now they find themselves punching above their weight in a 2v5.
And I don't see them getting too much done here. They're making quite a lot of noise. They're going to get picked up then from the A bomb side. Hyper J is going to tap away. Allah's going to pick himself up too, though. Does it put it back into perhaps some winnable territory? I'd say if he can secure a third, we might be on for the clutch ace here. This vent is blocked, so he's going to have to make some noise there to sort of let them know where it is. But Aspect is on the angle. He does actually missed. That would have been the kill. He would have picked up the round there. He misses a second time, which is unfortunate for him and for his team. And now the push towards B is coming through from Allah, but he's got so much ground to clear. He's got so many angles that he needs to contest with. Good patience here, but it does look like he might just be timing striked here at the end of the day. There's still the man in apps that he hasn't quite figured out is there, and it is Hyper J who's going to be sitting right above him. And it's not going to matter because Scrubby's going to keep pushing the angle and pushing the issue and gets that M4 medulla oblongata removal done and dusted.
And that was a full buy round from the side of XVG, which Aspiration made it pretty pedestrian at the end of the day. The MP9s are able to upgrade to the AKs, and XVG, they're on an eco once more. So Aspiration, they're having a bit of a better time on the CT side of this map than they did prior on Overpass, but we are going to see that they've posted pistol, they've posted the conversion, and now they've posted the first buy round. But now we're going to see, can they clean up the rounds following? So this is just going to be a jungle smoke and a stair smoke coming out, and a flash over to the bomb site. Can Aspiration tame the beast that is Fenrir and the boys and female? Good to see what they can get. Oh, a nice nade. Kobe.
That's not ideal. They eat one and then their teammate makes them eat another. They're going to hold W now. There isn't going to be main in the predictable places. Rocket doesn't care though. He's going to hit the headshot through the wall. They do manage to actually secure the side, but nobody's there with the bomb to plant. Aspect picks up one. Scrubby picks up another. Aspect picks up his second. Is he going to get a third? Allah is going to get some damage onto him, but he is going to run out into the open. And Aspiration is going to clear this up with one player lost, which is going to boost their economy to a 5k per player starting round buying sort of setup here, and only one weapon to buy. This is looking really good for Aspiration. They're not losing too many men so far in the 4 rounds. They've only lost, what is that, let me do the quick maths, 6 players, which is less than 2 a round. So that's absolutely fantastic, and that's why the economic situation is the way it is. Is going to push them to a 10-9, but now we go into another weird mixed buy. Rock is going to be pushing up short here. And is he going to be able to convert a kill? Nope. Luke's going to get him from behind.
Luke's just going to take Rocker out early in the round, and Fenrir is the only one that hasn't invested, which is a bit weird. Maybe he's thinking, listen, Oaks, I could do what you Oaks can do on the AKs with an Eagle. So give me time. Andrew, he's going to wrestle things back, but Luke is going to come in with the trade as the B side does seem to be the choreographed hit coming out. Scrubby trying to tap over towards bench, but Allah going to be the one to take the gunfight. There's still 2 players over towards the B bomb side. Hyper J is going to take down Fenrir and double down on towards Allah as Scrubby is going to clean up the round. And with that sort of wonky buy coming out from XVG, they do have the full loss bonus to fuel a buy coming into this round. But Aspiration, they looked really good on that buy round once again. They have posted all the rounds on their CT side. They were down 9-6 now. They found themselves 2 rounds to the good. But XVG have got another buy coming Aspiration's way.
Yeah, it's just looking like Aspiration has the setup like really well waxed. Their utils on point, their patience is on point. They're not overextending. They're covering the cross angles. Like as a man comes up, Cat, he thinks, "Oh, I'm in a good position. I'm fine. I don't need to worry." Kinslayer almost picks himself up 2 there. Andrew's going to press the issue and going to get himself 1. Aspect's in a really bad position, but Kinslayer doesn't know it. Andrew's then going to trade. That's 3 for 1 now in the favor of the T's. The bomb is going to be late to sight, but as I'm saying, their setup is really good. It seems like XVG found the missing pieces to the puzzle and put together this round. They do have 2 more players left over to convert in the form of Hyper J and Scrubby, who both have AK-47s, which is going to bode well for their damage potential going into this round. But with all the util and everything that XVG have on hand still, it just maybe doesn't look like it's going to be possible.
Yeah, this really should be a round in which XVG lock Aspiration out of. But you're going to see what they can get done. The sporting flashes do come in, and good post plants have really been solidified by the T's. Fenrir over towards Apex is going to catch Hyper J looking the wrong way. He's able to double down over towards Scrubby, and that was just XVG capitalizing on Aspiration's mistakes and ultimately cleaning up the round after that. So they've posted their 10th. They're both on double digits now. But now's the time that Fenrir's teammates need to start picking up the slack. He finds himself 25-16, and he needs his teammates to show up. The same can be said about Noble Aspiration. Aspect, he's on 23 kills. Cupcake and Kinslayer really not having the greatest time in the server so far, but if any time's to show up, it's now. As it is 10-11, 22nd round on the board. and a very important round actually for both sides.
Definitely, definitely. This could spiral out of control. Aspiration taking the reins on this map there for the better part of this half, and now find themselves on the back end of a tough economic situation. They've got no loss bonus, they've got nothing, they're going to have basically nothing to play with in the next round. But XVG does have that 3-round loss bonus, so perhaps boding a little bit better for them. They are going to go for the A push straight through. It does look like that was a bit of a failed molly initially. Is it going to result in a kill? It is. Cupcake even stays alive on 1 HP, managing to stay in there. The spam comes through from Palace area, so they are going to be able to molly that off, smoke that off. Another molly has to come out to take that down. Fenrir decides to retreat, is going to take a huge amount of damage. Does manage to pick up Hyper J in amongst the chaos, but it does look like that nade is going to then, oh well, Luke's just going to actually shoot him. To be honest, I thought he was still alive at that point, but he was rather dead. So now the T's stuck in a weird position, bomb out in the open. Aspiration going to have to sort of throw this somewhat for them to get the round. They're kind of pinned down, and Allah is going to have to be the one to make the play. The Kobe call comes out from a Kokos. It doesn't quite land, and Luke keeps himself alive. Does some good damage there coming through again, but they are going to be able to push onto the side. But Aspect's waiting on the angle, and now it's just Kinslayer in the Palace position. Luke, do not peek this, please, because that's what you're waiting for, and that's how you trade. And that is going to be the restoration of control over to Aspiration somewhat for the time being. But perhaps a partial buy can come through now from XVG. Do you think they buy or do they save? They are 10. It's 12-10. It's not too dire.
Oh, they full invested. They answered the question for me. All of them have got a full belt of utility on their back, and are going to see what they can get done. 2 players over towards Palace, and they're going to fight for mid control once more. Aspect, he's going to be playing in front of the smoke, and there's no flash to hit middle. You have to suggest that there's an AWP anywhere in middle. You have to hit middle with a flash. So that's another misplay coming out from XVG. They're going to battle from the low ground so far in this round, find themselves in a man disadvantage. So they're going to take mid control once again, but now is how you activate on towards either side. Aspect, he's going to clear out apps with the AWP, and XVG, their only option is to hit the same bomb site, but Fenrir is in the backlines. He catches Hyper J looking the wrong way. Under bulk is Luke. He's mollied out of position and taken down now. It's Cupcake over towards CT, stuck in no man's land, mollied, burning, naded, all of the above, and now it's going to be a 4v2 situation. Aspect and Scrubby, you should save here. You've got no rounds of loss bonus behind your name. You've got an AWP and an M4 in which you can build the next round around, and that's exactly what they're going to do. So they're playing exits, but they're saving the weapons, which is extremely important to keep the economy of XVG in check. Scrubby could overstay his welcome, but it does look like it's going to be an 11th round for XVG, and now we've got an exciting, a scintillating, I'm trying to think of another adjective to describe the end of this map. But it's going to be 11 rounds to XVG and 12 rounds to that of Aspiration.
I'm just proud of Aspect that he at least posted an angle, because if it was a full Jame, he would have been in the back by the van looking at the floor from the get-go. He does go through with a lot of util, which is sort of going to help perhaps with that mid-take. You can maybe set up a nice little one-way and connector and get a couple of picks towards top mid or something to that effect. But now XVG reversed the position once again. It's only their second round win of the half though, so they still have a lot to build off of. Aspiration still in the driving seat right now. They might be a little bit broke, but now their loss bonus conversions are going to start building in their favor, and they're just going to hold W up mid, which is going to result in very good info, but not a lot of kills.
Yeah, unfortunately, no kills are going to go their way, but there's going to be ace smokes coming out from the side of XVG. I believe the sound cues have been heard, so Fenrir is in a position in which he can catch these rotates coming back from T-spawn. First player to fall in the round is Scrubby, but it does look like it's going to be XVG's 12th, which is going to be relatively clean for the most part, so we're going to see an exciting end to this map. But there's going to be 12-12. The AWP is going to be saved once again. Well, for now at least. The question is, do XVG choose to hunt? I think there is a lot more to win out of this round, even if you lose the AKs. To take the AWP out of the hands of Aspect is going to be a pretty decent victory in itself, but it is going to be 12 all on the doors, and we're going to see if XVG, they've only posted, as you said, this is only going to be their third round of their T sides. They've definitely seemed to find the hole in the CT defense and seem to exploit it quite decently. But now is another buy round, which they need to find themselves through. And it's not going to be a good buy at that for the side of Noble Aspiration.
For sure, and it feels kind of like a momentum shift is starting to happen here. If we look at the way that the first half ended, it was very Aspiration dominant, and now as we've switched sides, it was Aspiration dominant. They were in the driving position, they had shifted gears, but now it's coming back once again over to XVG side. They've lost one play in the last 2 rounds to set themselves up for a really nice economic position without having that loss bonus behind their back. Now they're still fine, they can still buy even if they lose this round. So the 2 in a row has gone really well for them as well. It's just helping a lot, and the fact that it's gone from such a dominant position on Aspar's side to now swinging on the side of XVG, it's definitely some sort of momentum shift that's coming through at the moment, and it's going to be down to XVG to fluff it, I think, at this point. Cupcake does get himself in a nice position. A trade, or a pick-off actually coming from Scrubby on the other side. Aspect gets a nice shot onto Andrew in mid, and it looks like Aspire has completely outstrated XVG. Fenrir does manage to pick up 1 kill. Ale is going to take the second, but at the cost of 90% of his HP. There is a nade that's going to be coming through. They're not going to push into this, which I think is a really good move from them. Just to pull back, play the time. We've still got 40 seconds. We don't need to perhaps rush into this. And now the push comes through. When the CT smoke has plumed, they are going to reset up some smokes, some nades, and push these CTs even further back out of the bomb side. Fenrir just pulls wide, rips Scrubby's head off. Aspect is going to be able to get one from CT through the smoke, but he's not going to be able to double it up because he's not in position. He decides to pop a flash over the top to perhaps try and slow them down. But now the T's in a commanding position on this bomb side. They don't have the best ever post-plant positions, but they do have some info and stuff to work with, and Fenrir's going to get fancy with a couple of flashes over the top. One of them is going to blind up Aspect, as he's going to be forced to play his hand a little bit early. Hyper J takes a good amount of damage. Fenrir swings wide and picks up the round then for the T's. 34 and 17 on him. He's going absolutely huge here, Nix.
He's having a monster performance from the side of XVG, but now it's attack time, I'd call out from Aspiration, so it's something to keep in mind. Fenrir's on 34 frags, and Aspect, he's trying to keep up with him on 27 on the side of Noble Aspiration, but you can definitely feel the CTs. If all your teammates on CT, I'll put it this way: if there's one player that's not playing well as a CT, it's a lot easier to exploit than it is on the T side, right? Like if you have a guy on the T side who's going 5 and 20, you just send him into a side first. You know, you can still utilize him. But if you're a CT and you're really struggling to find form, especially this late in the game, you can just carry on abusing that site that CT is playing and really play disrespectful Counter-Strike in that regard and see what you can get done. But XVG, they seem to find the stride. As you said, it seems like it has been a momentum shift. They find the holes, they've exploited them, and now we're going to see what they can get done. It is a full eco round besides 2 nades purchased, so it should just be cleanup crew from the side of XVG, as Rocker's going to get 3 on the spray from the AK. And it does look like XVG are going to post their 4th. A great frag coming out from Kinslayer. There means that it's Cupcake left. Oh, what's your problem, Cupcake? It's a 1v5 with P2000. No, I'm going to stick my neck out there. I know it's a bit bold, but I don't think Cupcake's going to win this round.
It's a bold strategy that you've gone with there, because he's going to get a couple of kills, I can tell you that much. But after that, it does look like it's probably going to slow down. No, it's going to be Fenrir as well who gets his head taken off. So perhaps 2 throwaway guns there. The P2K doing some work, even challenging the AWP at range. But now they're going to say, walk through fire to get to us, my friend. And he's going to opt instead to get a gun and do a jam, which is quite a good move, actually. Getting 2 kills, good damage there from Cupcake, absolutely no problems. But I think, yeah, your bold prediction has come to fruition.
You know, sometimes you just got to stick your neck out there. You just got to, you know, live life on the edge, make predictions that you never know the exact results of, you know, sports betting, all that stuff. So I would have put my money that that Cupcake wasn't going to win that round, and I'd be a rich man to say the least, you know. So it is XVG posting their 14th Aspiration. They're going to try find a response to the momentum shift that they have been experiencing. XVG have won 5 of the last 6. We're going to see if they can do that once again, falling back to the old faithful are the side of XVG just grouping up over towards A, over towards middle, going to see if they can split the, say, bomb sites. But what they did wrong the previous round is that the middle players activated before the A players did. So the question is, can they change the way in which they do this split? But it is just going to be a default for the most part coming out from XVG. They have gained middle control. They've got information over towards ramp and palace. They've got information over towards apps. And now all they got to do, don't overcomplicate the mid round. Group up, hit a bomb site together, and you more than likely win the round if you trade effectively. But it is going to be Kinslayer pushing the issue. Let's see what she can get done.
She walks out ramp behind the smoke, sneaky breaky. See if she can get a little bit cheeky. I don't think they know actually do the CTs, so they're going to be jumping around, and she is going to pick up a sick kill towards Luke. But now they should be quite alerted to her position. HyperJ seems to be the one that will probably be the danger man. I'm pretty sure she knows about Cupcake in that position. Aspect picks up a nice kill towards B, so that's going to start off right for them, and it just goes wrong very quickly for XVG. Even though they get that opening frag, the CTs just play patient, do the shutdown. Now bomb is dropped inside of the jungle area, and it's just Fenrir with an AWP stuck between a rock, a hard place, and a cupcake.
And a cupcake, but Fenrir, he's going to swap out to the trusty old Deagle to try to get something done. We know what he can get done so far. He's not a player to be forced with, but Aspect has spotted him out towards top of middle. They should kill him after time, but ooh, Fenrir, he's going to pad the stats some more, take Scrubby out in the round. But something I always say is, Kinslayer was able to win out the opening engagement. You're 5v4 if you're XVG. At that stage, you regroup. If you don't overcomplicate the mid round, if you don't go for these cheeky B fakes or this play towards con, all you do is you group up, you hit a bomb site together, and you win the round, especially with a man advantage. But what they did, they sent two players out towards B, which both got picked off with no trade. They had players boosted window, which got picked off with no trade. And then all Fenrir did was save the AWP. So if you're XVG, just got to go back to the old faithful, and it looks like they're going to do exactly that. Just got to hit out straight A smokes, try trade out effectively, and try win the round. This is an extremely important round for both sides. And this win of either of this round from either of the sides could see who's going to win the game. But Kinslayer, she's going to get the opening frag of the round, take out HyperJ. The A site is going to be the one that's going to be tasked with the hit. Rocker is going to take out Scrubby. Kinslayer pushing the smoke, takes out Cupcake. And now it's Aspect left, AWP in hand, 1v5. Again, I'm going to stick my neck out there. He's not going to win this round.
He almost gets a collat as you say that, though. Just on a side note, Kinslayer probably breathing a big sigh of relief that she just got legged there and didn't get taken down along with Allah. But a 4-1 with an AWP, yeah, it's probably time to jam. But even in the motion of jamming, you've only got a 2-round loss bonus and an average of what, 1,800 on your remaining players. It's looking quite grim. XVG should be in a position where Aspiration has to force. They're gonna have to force. You can't, really do anything else in their position, can you? And that's probably gonna lead to their demise, because forcing on the 3K on some of your players, they're gonna be extremely light on util. Probably only gonna have like an SMG or a scout at best with that. It's not looking good for Aspiration. XVG pulling it through on a really critical round with some nice entries from the non-carries, and then they get the remaining carries coming through and cleaning it up.
Yeah, definitely. And we're seeing Noble Aspiration call out a timeout, and I think this is exactly what they're going to talk over. They're going to talk over what's been going wrong, how they've been getting picked off in the round, and maybe force up some sort of a wonky buy. Maybe they even take back-to-back tacks. I don't think they're going... Okay, they are going to take back-to-back tacticals. So they're really taking the effect of this 1 minute timeout that they can talk things over. Cupcake has got enough to invest in M4. The same can be said about HyperJ. The head armor purchase is a bit questionable, but be that as it may, they're all going to purchase up armor. So the question is, are they going to drop M4? Okay, they're going to purchase up, each of them are going to purchase up themselves, which I'm always a fan of later on in the game. If, for example, Luke, he's been playing really well throughout these last two maps. If maybe he drops an MP9 for an M4 instead of purchasing up the FAMAS, something along those lines, so he can still get a full belt of utility. Just sort of things like that, so you can sort of spread your resources across your players and have the best players with the best weaponry possible. but it is going to be possibly the last round. XVG have got 15 to their name, but Aspiration, they want to take this game to overtime. The result of the last map, Overpass, was 16-13. Can XVG repeat that, as they are going to push middle? Scrubby going to try to push the issue. He's going to take Rocker out early in the round. So now XVG, again, they're punching above their weight. 4v5 situation. They're going to see what they can get done.
It's really nice that they hit them with that change of pace. I think it was a critical time to do that as well, to hit that W key and get that early trade, which puts them in a 5-on-4 situation. Aspect can basically almost anchor B, I would say somewhat solo, but he's not going to need to, because he does have some support there in the form of Scrubby, but he gets taken out quite quickly, does our man Scrub, and now they're put into a position of a 4v4. So can XVG capitalize? No, they can't. Here comes Aspect. He hits a double AWP towards B and secures the bomb, which now means that with the trade happening over towards A as well, Cupcake takes down Kingslayer, and then Andrew, a miraculous turn of events for them. Aspect, huge work, 32 for 60, gets that double kill towards B, secures the bomb. XVG gets put in a really bad position. They're on match point. They do have a bye, but Nick, are we seeing an overtime here?
Oof, you know, one thing that we've seen from the CTs is, again, it's literally just Aspect against Fenrir so far this game. And as I said, the Ts, they can utilize their players that aren't performing as well as the other players, and maybe as XVG rather, they're going to take advantage of this. They're going to go back to the straight up stock standard A smokes, smoke up A, Tetris stairs, jungle, and CT, and hit the bomb site. They do have the split that could be activated with Rocket towards middle. So XVG, they look really well set up to take this round. The CT seems to have a bit of a wonky setup. They don't have a site setup. So they've got two players over towards window, a player towards top of con, and one towards CT. But they are going to be walking to 4, but Rocker with this mid pinch is going to come out. And the early man advantage does go the way of XVG, as the A site does come in. Two CTs are locked behind the CT smoke as the bomb's going to get planted. Cupcake gets one, but that may be all he wrote. It's going to be a 4v4 retake now. Molly in response, Rocker's going to take out Aspect, so it does look like it's all she wrote. He's actually able to double down, and Fenrir over towards CT takes down Scrubby, and Kinslayer, fitting as you like, takes down Cupcake. And that's a 16-13 and a 16-14 victory for XVG, as they are 2-0 victors against the side of Nibble Aspiration.
What an aim fiesta we just had, to be very honest. The amount of structured rounds, we could probably count on each, like on one hand for the maps, right? Like there was just so many weird things that happened, but ultimately XVG, best profile pictures on server and apparently best play on the server.
Yeah, I think XVG, they just showed up tonight, right? They played they had a really good team performance on Overpass, which was the reason why they were able to close that out. And on the side of there's my mom, by the way, for some reason. There she is.
Hi, Ma.
But for the side of Nibble Aspiration, their CT setups just weren't up to standard, and XVG, they were able to win out the map 2-0, the series rather 2-0, and have a really good performance on top of that.
Yeah, no, and 16-13, 16-14, nothing in it, if you like. I think definitely aim saved the day for XVG. Fenrir going like pretty big on map 1, but absolutely out of his mind on map 2. The first couple of rounds on CT, pushing absolutely everything, realizing, hey, these guys actually aren't leaving a lurker often, so maybe there's a little bit of space here for me, and just sort of took massive advantages and massive gambles, but they paid off ultimately at the end of the day. They won a lot of rounds off of his back and him doing that sort of stuff and collecting info. But I think the rounds that they lost, as you noted critically, they had so much info from that and sort of overplayed their hand. And had they not, I think it would have actually been even more in their favor. It probably would have finished more of a 16-10, 16-11 without those sort of overextensions and mistakes. But for lower bracket CS in this tournament, I was not expecting actually such a close game. I think that the seeding and everything has worked out quite well, that we get, 16-13, 16-14. So far, none of the games pretty much that we've broadcast have been absolute whitewashes. So that feels quite good. And for the teams that are competing and getting so close, it must be, quite heart-wrenching to hit a 16-14, 16-13 final score and almost be kicking yourself over those small mistakes.
Yeah, definitely. But if you're the side of Noble Aspiration, you can always review the demos as Evesports have presented this tournament. It's ultimately just experience boosting for all the teams competing. So you've been able to perform at this level against good teams, and if you're Noble Aspiration, it's not all doom and gloom. You can watch the demos, you can review your mistakes, and come back stronger next time. So XVG, they were the better team on the server today, 2-0 victors. But it's not all doom and gloom for the side of Noble Aspiration. There's still big ups. We saw a lot of positives coming out from them, a lot of negatives, and that's the same for both sides. A lot of pros and cons for both the teams that from both teams, that setups and T strats and holes in defenses, etc. But ultimately on Mirage, we saw Aspect and Fenrir go absolute neck to neck. But Fenrir, he was able to win it out, and XVG 2-0 victors against Noble Aspiration.
And that does mean, though, unfortunately, Noble Aspiration will be removed from the tournament and the bracket. XVG do carry on. And that is our first game of this quad setup, lower bracket setup that we have going for this week. On Thursday, we will be back with some Ikasi Esports with the boys from Omnius Anarchy. So that is also, I think, going to be quite a close game, quite gritty, and it's two sort of grinding teams that are very heavy with their coaching and teamwork. But until then, I have been Wookie Triple XL, joined by Mr. Nix, our savior of the cast this evening. Thank you so very much for coming through. Really do appreciate it.
Pleasure.
You've been an absolute star. But yes, we will be back on Thursday with Mr. Hayes that pays. And tomorrow I will be announcing all of the giveaway items that he will be throwing at your faces over the coming weeks. And so until then, hope you guys stay safe, keep well, and we'll see you on the flip side.